so I can sync everything.
Why did you do that?
So I can sync it. Well, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Farmer Talk. Today we have the one and only George with us. So I figured we'd do a little interview with George. This is something I wanted to do for a while when we had the other podcast, and we never got around to it. And, well, now we're all here. We're doing a podcast again, so I thought it'd be a good time to do that. But first, I think Dad has another segment of this week's what we call in this Successful Farming with Bob or Antique
Old
Magazine.
Time.
Antiques with antiques.
I'm gonna ask George if he knows what these prices, how much clover seed was back in 1916.
Clover seed?
Yeah.
$5.
Oh my God, you're high. $3.90.
Okay, we're getting a deal on that.
Yeah, yeah. Clover seed. It was used for fertilizer mainly. Well, they did because they didn't use much fertilizer back there. I didn't see anything. Brian, you can get the right TV up there.
Well, we had to turn
You just
TV
carry
off.
on your conversation.
You
We'll get
guys
the
keep
hang of it.
going.
Anyway, they used fertilizer, and it was equal to alfalfa as far as hay, and it built the ground up was the biggest thing, one of the bigger things. And what else we got? They said after it built the ground up, the ground was like worth $50 to $125 an acre more in value, I guess, over fertilizer, which they didn't have much back here. Then you can buy clover Tennessee mixed for like $4. Alsac, which I've heard of it. It's a, I don't know, something like clover or something, I guess. It's an Alsac Tennessee mix was $4.
Oh, that's where
Used
the
for
owl
hay.
kept his,
An Alsac, yeah.
Used for hay and pasture.
So this is all the stuff out of that 1916
Now,
Successful Farm.
1916, and I couldn't find any seed corn.
We didn't really tell people what we're even talking about.
What are we talking about?
Well, you just
Seed
started
prices.
talking.
Well, I
So
thought-
Dad has a 1916 Successful Farming magazine that was found in a barn, and he's been going through it and finding out some snippets of that magazine he finds interesting, and that's what this segment's about. Now proceed.
Okay, so I bet George knows what 1927 soybeans were.
The price per bushel to sell them?
No, how much it costs to buy seed?
Oh, $1.50.
Oh, you were around yet then? Were you either? That's
$10.
right. $2.50.
$2.50.
$0.50.
That's going $5 again.
You what?
That's gonna go with $5 again.
Oh,
no, 2 bushels.
Yeah.
I'm good at math.
this was even 10, 11 years later. But earlier in the 16, I didn't see anything about soybeans. So I don't know if they had back then.
I don't know.
Corn. You told me you didn't see corn prices.
I did see corn prices. Seen corn, but I didn't see corn prices. And I seen one seed company still, Burpee Seeds, which is vegetable seed.
Well, at that time, everybody probably just kept their own seed, didn't they?
Yeah, but there were still people that sold it. But like this Burpees was small vegetables for your garden.
Okay.
You can go to town and buy that today. That's the only seed company I see. But I thought that was kind of neat. Then they said in there the straw, they didn't use the straw or burn it or anything. They spread it back on the ground, help put fertilizer back in the ground. Like today, the bale straw.
Yeah, okay.
But anyway, that's what I found for this week. That's about it. I thought George was remember some of them prices, but
Yeah, I'm shocked.
He just couldn't read yet.
I tried.
You tried that.
I tried.
I guess he any older than I am, hardly.
Yeah, yep. So a little bit of an introduction on George. So if you've been following the channel for a while, George worked on the on our farm 1990, is about when he started, and then he pretty well retired in 2019. So behind me is the 2019 harvest playlist. So you might see him a little bit in there if you're watching on the YouTube. George, you're born in 48.
Yep,
Yep, back when the dinosaurs roamed the earth.
yep.
Yep, under a rock, I believe you used to say. Born under a rock.
Up on the mountain, wasn't it? Up on the mountain, wasn't it? Yellowstone or
Yellowstone. So
Yellowstone.
George hails from Jellicoe, Tennessee.
Yep.
There you go.
So George is me and BJ's ex-uncle, kind of. So George is married to my mom's sister, and growing up, he was like a second dad to us. So he's always been Uncle George. He's still Uncle George, and he'll always be Uncle George to us. But anyways, George, let's start from the beginning. There was a big flash, and the dinosaurs were gone.
That was come from the heavens.
So you're saying George was the meteorite?
Yeah. Yeah. So born in 1948 in Jellicoe, Tennessee, and at that time that was a pretty big coal area, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yep. So if you've never been through Jellicoe, 75 goes right through it, doesn't it? If you're
It's right
taking
on.
75 south to Nashville from our area, basically.
Part of Jellicoe's in Kentucky.
Yep. Hold that mic a little bit closer. Pull it a little bit closer. Yep. So I remember you took me there whenever I was a little boy, and I can't remember if we stayed in Kentucky or in Tennessee,
We
but
probably stayed in Tennessee then.
half the town is in Kentucky, right?
Yeah,
First parts of it.
yeah.
Yep. So growing up, what was your childhood like there?
Well, very dull. I mean, I was just a damn hick kid.
Yep.
That's me and my buddy. I remember I got up every morning and I went to Robert's house. We'd play all day. When it started getting dark, I'd head home.
Yeah. So I mean, that area though. I mean, I'm guessing Jellicoe wasn't a real rich area of Tennessee.
Oh no.
So I mean, growing up, was it fairly poor in that area?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Very poor.
Yep. Did you go to a county school then? I take it.
Yeah.
Okay. Uphill both ways.
Oh yeah. Cold too.
Barefoot in the snow.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, at what point did you get out of Jellicoe? I mean, that was later in life. I mean, you stayed
Oh,
there
yeah.
till after the war,
Yeah.
didn't you?
Yeah, I stayed there until I come back from Vietnam. Really, I left after I come back from Vietnam.
Okay. Well, let's back up a while because I've heard a lot of cool stories from when you were growing up. So George and Dad both grew up in my opinion, the greatest era of automobiles in the '60s. And I've heard some of your stories of running around with your buddies with cars and stuff. So you mind sharing some of those? Tell them about the 2 quarts of oil.
Oh, well,
So what kind of car was it?
my brother took me to Knoxville, Tennessee, and helped me get a 1956 Chevrolet Bel Air.
So this would have been 64 or so, 66 somewhere.
I have no idea.
Do you remember if you were still in school?
Oh yeah, I was still in school because that's when I really started skipping a lot of classes when I got the car.
Made things easier.
But it looked real good. They had painted under the hood, painted the whole car. I mean, it was a sharp car.
1956 Bel Air?
Yeah.
Okay.
And by the time I got it home, you couldn't see the engine for the oil.
And Knoxville's what, 100 miles?
No, it's probably about 45 miles.
Okay.
Something like that. But anyway, it had a busted ring in it, and it was blowing oil out where you put the oil in, it blowed it out there. And if you went up a hill, I mean, the smoke would just run you out of the car because it come under the dash. And anyway, I scratched my head a couple of times on that one. I said, hey, I can fix this. So I took the breather off, throwed it away, and got me radiator hose, stuck it on the pipe where the smoke come out and run it back down through the carburetor. So it all went out the exhaust.
Just ran it with no air breather.
Yeah.
I guess at that point it really wasn't a big deal.
Yeah,
Problem solved.
there you go.
He invented the emissions.
Yeah.
Yeah, I fixed it.
Yeah, you were ahead of your time.
Yeah, I didn't have it in the car. I had it out the back.
But didn't your sister say she could tell if you were running the car hard?
Oh, yeah. My sister would get it every evening and go to Williamsburg, Kentucky. And if I'd had a hot rod day, she had to put 2 quarts of oil and $2 worth of gas in it. But if I had a non-hot rod day, she'd put a quart of oil and $2 worth of gas in it.
So you remember what engine that vehicle had?
I think it's a 265 V8.
A hot rod.
Oh, yeah.
Well, before that, I remember you telling me that you were the area bike mechanic, weren't you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I did.
So you've always had a pretty good mechanical knack to you, then, in my opinion.
Back then, yeah. I mean,
Well, I remember even growing up, if me and Ben, your son, had something break, I mean, you tear it apart, and we might get it back together.
yeah,
It might even work.
Some stuff we could fix, and a whole lot of stuff we couldn't.
Yeah. So what are some of the other good car stories? Uh-oh. You guys keep talking. I got a camera issue.
Oh, my.
I can remember one time, me and 3 or 4 of my buddies was out doing stupid stuff, and I know they just a little straight stretch, and a lot of them will go out there and maybe race every once in a while on there. So, right at the end of that, there was a bridge and a real sharp curve. So I went out through there. We was trucking pretty good. When it was too late, I realized my brakes sucked. And we went into the curve. I was low as I could go. Car started bouncing, and I knowed I was done.
Curve wasn't banked, huh?
I
Didn't have any banking on the curve?
No, not what I needed anyway. But anyway, my buddy was sitting in the center of the seat. And when the car started bouncing, his foot slipped off of the hump, went right onto the accelerator.
Oh, shit.
And when he did, that car went right around that curve like it was meant to. But I was headed to the ditch till that happened. Big time.
So, when was this?
Oh, that's after I got to 56.
Okay.
So I don't remember what year it was. We was in high school.
So when did you, I remember you tell about before you went to Vietnam, when you got out of school, or you still went to school when you drove the old Mack truck, the strip mine?
That's after I come back.
After you come back, okay.
Oh, just take one for a second. This might take a minute.
No, Brian's working on the camera, so technical difficulties.
Well, if I had co-host work, sure.
Boy, oh boy.
You might give me shit. I don't see a volunteer to help fix anything.
Oh, we can fix it. Might not work, like it should.
Throw it in the
Yeah.
trash can.
So what was your car after that?
Oh, Lord, let me think. I think I ended up with a 60 Chevrolet convertible.
That was when you was in high school?
Yeah, I was still in school. Because I sold that to a guy that still owes me. He still owes me.
Still hadn't paid you?
Hey, son of a gun, if you're listening, pay me.
Yeah, but how much?
In interest?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But he was supposed to pay my mother
Oh.
because I wanted to get rid of the car before I went to
So
service.
how old was the car when you bought it?
Oh, it was wore out.
Oh, just a few years wore out.
Oh.
Of course, cars back then probably didn't last 100,000 miles, did they?
Now, this car had been rode hard to put up with.
Okay.
I bought it from a teetotal idiot.
No.
And he was supposed to pay Mom the rest of the money, but he never paid her anything after I left.
This was the 1960.
Yeah,
Was it an Impala or what was it?
yeah. It's a convertible Chevrolet
I
convertible.
don't remember many of the stories on it.
Convertible.
Well, I didn't have it really all that long because after I got it, I was a few years, or I'd say less than a year, I was on my way to Nam.
Okay. So you had the Bel Air through high school and then bought that Impala and then you get drafted.
Yeah.
So what was that like?
What was what like?
What was it? I mean, so at this point, I think you said you got drafted in 68 or 69, somewhere in there.
It was 69.
So you'd have been a little over 18, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I think I figured it up. I was 20 maybe.
So what was it like? Because you had to know that that letter might be coming.
Oh, yeah.
Because everybody was getting drafted at that
Oh,
point, weren't
yeah.
they?
I know, well, everybody knew if you was eligible, you was gonna get drafted.
Yeah. So were you nervous?
Oh, no, I mean, you just waited on the letter, you got pissed, you cussed it, and you went on about your business till you had to leave.
Okay.
So when did you go take your physical? The first thing you did, was that right after you got out of school? Or how long was it after that?
Oh, no, you didn't take your physical until they drafted you.
Yeah, well, I graduated in 68 in May, and like the next week or two, we had a busload of us went to get our physicals.
I don't remember doing that.
Yeah.
I never done anything.
And by fair week, I think I didn't pass the physical. in Fair Week, the week after Fair, several of them was gone.
Yeah.
So that would have been, so yours was after that then?
Yeah, because I mean, like I said, you know that it was coming. You just waited on it, and
Wonder if that had anything to do with him being out of high school when you guys were just easy to load on a bus.
Probably.
I
don't
figure it's probably just, I mean,
I don't
a
know.
lot more rural area too.
Probably, yeah, probably, maybe. I don't know how they picked that or did that.
I don't know, but I just, I know it didn't happen out there at high school because I worked a few places. Hard to get a good job because they know you're going to be drafted.
Yeah.
Well, that's going to be one of my questions was, I mean, were people pretty scared to hire someone in their early teens or late teens, early 20s?
Yeah, it was hard. You could get a job, but it wasn't much of a
A
job.
service job of some sort?
Yeah.
Okay. I remember one time you told me if that thing had said Marines, you were heading to Canada.
No, Marines.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. when I got I think we went to La Follette, Tennessee, is where we went to the board to take the physical and all that stuff. And I know that they handed me this paper, and it had, I've seen some of the other people's paper, and it had a big M or a big A stamped on it, big red letters. And I had done made up my mind I didn't want to go to the Marines. I'd heard too much talk about it. And mine had a M on it. And I wasn't much for asking questions. I was just a backward kid. I never had to ask any questions. Should have, but I didn't. But I did ask questions on that. I said, is this, because they had been drafted for the Marines too. And I asked the lady at the desk, I said, does this mean I'm going to the Marines? And she said, no.
What did it mean?
I have no idea.
He didn't follow up with that part.
It didn't matter at that point.
That's right. I didn't care.
Got the answer you needed.
That's right.
So were you, at that point, were the Marines just in the news more?
It's just, what I'd heard, they was just rough, tough.
Yeah.
And I didn't think I was that rough or tough.
I know you'd always gave me advice that if they ever instituted a draft while I was eligible, just to go ahead and sign up. That way you could dictate where you were going a little bit.
Join the draft.
Join the draft.
Join the draft.
What does that mean?
You join for 2 years instead of 3.
So you're saying don't wait for your letter, go to them and join.
Right.
Okay.
And join the draft. And that way you just have to stay for 2 years.
Okay.
Or if you wouldn't just join, you was 3-year guy.
Okay. Do you remember were they drafting for the Navy and the Air Force
I
too?
never heard of that.
Okay.
I mean, the Air Force was the place to go, especially when we got to Vietnam.
Yeah. I've always heard that when the Air Force rolls in and builds a base, they build the airfield last.
I have no idea.
Well, if you think about it, if they spend all their money on a Wendy's and a movie theater and a golf course, well, hell, they got to give more money to build the airstrip.
I didn't know it was that way, but I know they live nice compared to the Marines or the Army in Vietnam. They had real nice buildings.
Yeah. So when you get drafted, what is, I mean, you're at that board or whatever, or at that building and you get your letter. How soon after that are you leaving? Like to go to basic?
I just remember coming home because I was working in Morristown, Tennessee, and I come home and Mommy never said nothing. There was a letter sitting on top of the refrigerator and she just pointed at it. And of course, I went off the deep end because I knowed what it was. But you had a certain date you had to report to the reception center. And I'm pretty sure it was La Follette's where I had to go to.
Okay.
And you went there and you took your physical. And if you passed, I think we went to Fort Knox, Kentucky, where basic training was at. So we left there if we passed the physicals, and we went to, but I don't remember. I think I had maybe a couple weeks before I had to leave.
Okay. So when you get to Fort Knox, I'm guessing you're getting there on your own, transportation-wise, or you taking a train to it?
They took us from La Follette.
Okay. How far was that from home?
That I don't know.
Okay.
La Follette was about 24 miles.
Okay.
Up from Fort Knox, I don't know.
Okay. Gotcha.
I think
I told you he'd get a spam call.
Yeah, I wonder what that's.
I thought something was wrong with the soundboard. Anyways, after that, you go to basic training. So at that point, you'd really never left like the Jellicoe area, had you?
nope.
I mean, Knoxville would be about as far as you'd ever ventured out into the world.
The only reason I done that is because of the school. They'd let us go to the state fair.
Okay. The state fair was in Knoxville.
Yep.
Okay. So what was it like going to basic then? That had to be kind of a culture shock, wasn't it? I mean, you're
Well,
just seeing people from all over the place.
You can say that's when the hillbilly got his head out of his butt.
Okay. Realize the world's a little bit bigger place.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
The Army was the best thing that ever happened to me. I mean, it did. It got me out of my shell.
Okay. Well, the whole time I've known you, you've always been a very disciplined person. You've always been a very tidy person, and you've always been a very social person. So it's hard for me to imagine a young George, the complete opposite, I guess. But I mean, before then, though, you were probably still a fairly disciplined person, I'm guessing.
Yeah. Yeah, well, back then, you know, it's one of them deals where if I hadn't had my name on my belt, I wouldn't have knew what it was. No, I'm just joking. But we never had no money. We never went anywhere. So that's where I was born and raised, and that's where I pretty much stayed until I was drafted into the Army.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay. So when you get there, you're probably seeing people from all different areas. I'm guessing that it wasn't just people from Tennessee and Kentucky at that basic training.
Oh no, it's everywhere.
Okay. Did you get made fun of or anything for being such a?
Well, of course I did. I was from Tennessee.
What does that mean?
Well, they made fun of hillbillies, I guess you'd say.
I'd say it was probably about half of you. It sounded a lot different than the other half, didn't it?
Yep.
Oh, I do remember hearing stories about your accent back in the day. Now George has lived in Ohio since 1975.
Yes.
So
When
that-
was the big blizzard? 78.
Okay.
Okay. That's when I moved to Chillicothe.
But you were living in Columbus before then.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is his accent has tamed down a lot. But I'm guessing before that it was pretty thick, wasn't it?
Must have been.
I've heard-
I didn't hear it.
I'd always heard a story about Mom telling you to go get some ice, and you came back and said, "I got some ass," and she
Yeah,
thought you said
yeah.
ass.
Probably. It still sounds like ass.
So how long after basic training were you shipping out? Or, well, when you get through basic training, I mean, at that point, was anyone was anybody quitting or trying to find ways out?
Well, everybody wanted out.
Yeah. Well, at that point, if you were gay in the Army, you were getting out.
Oh, yeah.
Did you have anybody claiming they were queer?
Oh, yeah.
How'd that go?
Not good.
It's a little bit different back then, I'm guessing.
Well, this two guys got together, and this one, he wanted out pretty bad, so this other guy was going to help him. So they worked up this scheme, and I don't remember the whole story, but the thing I remember about it was that first sergeant invited this guy to go fishing with him.
Is the first sergeant the guy in charge of the basic, or your
Well,
company of basic?
He was under the big boys,
Okay.
like the majors and the colonels.
Yeah.
They would come down to him, barking orders and all that stuff. But then anyway, the first sergeant invited that kid to go fishing.
This is the one wanting out.
Yeah, he was pretending to be gay. He straightened up real fast. His gayness went away.
Think it might have been beat out of him a little bit.
No, he didn't want to go fishing because he knew what was going to happen.
Okay. So after basic, do you find out what job you're getting in the Army?
I didn't know. No.
Okay, so where do you
Well,
get?
wait, yeah, you're right. I went to basic training, and then I went to AIT, and that was Advanced Individual Training. I think's the way what that would stand for, and that was in Fort Eustis, Virginia. That's when I found out I really didn't know why I was there. I
They
didn't
just told
know
you to
that-
go there, and that's where you went?
Well, they shipped us all there, because we didn't get no leave between basic and AIT. We went straight to AIT out of basic. And, I know it had something to do with helicopters, but hell, I didn't, like I said.
Had you ever even seen a helicopter at that point?
I don't remember one. I can remember we went up there and they was telling us all about these helicopters. Okay, sounds great. Had no idea. But I can remember they took us up in the chopper. And they was, we had headsets on. We could listen to the pilot. And he was telling us all this bullshit. And of course, I'm sitting there having no idea what the heck he's talking about. All of a sudden, that helicopter, I'm sitting in a seat, but the seat leaves my ass. Ass. And I said, what's going on? Well, we was doing an auto rotation. Well, he was talking about that, but hell, I didn't know what it was.
Is that where the engine stalls out and he just rotates it with the blades down?
Yes. He can still land it. Even
Basically
if he-
simulating a crash landing.
Yeah. And all of a sudden, I mean, we're going down. I don't remember how many feet per second and all that happy stuff. But,
more
Too
than
many.
more than you were comfortable with at the time.
but anyway, you're going down. You're looking. Oh shit, we're getting close to the ground. What's going on?
And this is when you just get there.
Yeah.
You don't even know what he's talking.
I had no idea what he was talking about,
Maybe,
but
maybe you should have started asking questions sooner.
it was too late. But anyway, before they get so many feet from the ground, he cranked the engine back up and started pulling.
And this was a Huey?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So at that point, did they tell you were going to be you were a crew chief, weren't you, on a Huey?
That's what my MOS was.
Okay. Is that when you found out that's what you'd be doing?
Yeah.
So they're taking a kid from Tennessee that never seen a helicopter, and all of a sudden you're supposed to be a crew chief's like a flight mechanic too, right?
Yep. Well, he pulled inspection on the chopper every morning. If he was the door gunner,
So the door gunner was also a crew chief.
yes.
Did they tell you that part?
No.
They didn't tell you you were going to get a machine
No.
gun? Okay.
No, I just thank God that everybody that had more, I guess you could put it like seniority than I did when I got to Vietnam, that they wanted that job, because I didn't want it.
Yeah.
So I never had to be a door gunner.
But you probably had to get a training for it, didn't you?
Oh, well, there's really no training for it.
They don't
As long
let-
as you know how to work a M60, I think it
Well,
was.
I don't know how to work an M60. They had to show you at some point, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Did you
Well,
get fired much?
No, not really.
That's a hell of a note to send you over to combat and not even let you fire the gun a whole
Here,
lot.
son, it's all point and click.
Yeah, yeah. Shoot it till it quits. Don't worry. No, not really. Not on the M60 or anything.
How much training did you get on like the maintenance and daily care of a helicopter?
Well,
I mean, that was
I
the
can't
main part of the
remember.
job, wasn't
yeah.
it?
I can't remember how long it was, but that's all we done at Fort Eustis.
Okay. That just always struck me.
I'm sorry, Fort where?
Eustis, Virginia.
Okay, when you first said it, I thought you said Fort Useless, which caused some concern knowing you were a mechanic.
So it just always baffled me. That's one thing that's always kind of fascinated me and baffled me about the Army is they can take someone who has no experience in a field and within, probably 12 weeks, 16 weeks,
I really don't remember how long it was, but yeah.
all of a sudden you're a qualified
Yeah.
crew chief for a helicopter that's going to go a few thousand feet up in the air and hopefully not fall out of the sky because you forgot a bolt or something like
Well,
that.
you always had a quality control man that come behind.
So you got
You had
another.
to write down everything you done, and then he come back and checked everything.
So you got another 18-year-old kid behind you doing
No,
the same.
he was older.
22.
That's
No.
where his attention to detail comes
Well, I'll
from.
probably. I mean, obviously we've never been in the Army, but it seems like everything's very regimented and checklists and
Oh, yeah.
very much on paper what to do, when to do
Yep.
it.
He'd probably been there for quite a while. That's what his job was, mechanic probably. Then he was teaching you
Oh,
guys
yeah.
as you go.
He went to school for that, I would imagine. But he had done the same thing we had done, but he was just higher rank
Right,
and been in longer.
A little bit more seasoned.
Right.
Okay, so do you remember after AIT, do you go straight to Nam at that point, or do you
I
get?
think I had a couple weeks off.
Okay, so from the start of going through basic to getting to Vietnam, I mean, is that a 6 months, or is that
Probably wasn't that long.
okay? So you went from just, I mean, my generation's never experienced the draft. Really, the last draft I think was your guys' generation. It's hard to imagine going about your life and then within 6 months you're doing something you didn't really plan on doing in a different part of the world with people shooting at you.
And what amazes me is to look at some of the pictures that I see on Facebook, and we were all kids.
Yeah.
We were kids. I don't care what nobody says. They sent us freaking more.
Yeah. I think that's one thing that a lot of people, and myself included, it's really easy to, I mean, you watch all these war movies, or, I mean, I like watching that genre of movies, and you lose sight of the fact that the people playing those people are probably 10, 15 years older than the actual people they're playing.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't look like kids, but then, like you say, I mean, I see people posting some of their Vietnam pictures from time to time on Facebook, and I mean, they look like like your boy. I mean, he's 17. I mean, they don't look much older.
He'd be facing the same thing I was if it was back then.
Yeah,
Couldn't do nothing till it happened.
yeah, yep. So, what was your impression of Vietnam? I mean, do you fly in on a commercial plane, or you?
Yes, we did.
Do you remember what it was like when the door opened and you walked out?
Well, you were scared to death.
Well, I'm guessing you don't land in the war zone, do you?
Not really, but they come on the plane and they tell you where all the bunkers are at. Yeah, right. Like I'd find one of them. But you never know. No matter where you was at, you didn't know what was going to happen from one minute to the next.
Yeah. Did you have much knowledge of Vietnam at all, like from just your personal life before the military?
What little bit I seen on the news, but it didn't slow me down none. I mean, hell, it's just the news. I didn't watch the news back then.
I mean, did you know how? I mean, it was starting to cost a lot of lives at that point, or?
Well, yeah, I know people died over there because that was the first thing they'd tell you when the news would come on, is how many soldiers was killed in Vietnam.
At that point, had anyone from your hometown been?
Yes.
Okay, so I mean, it started to hit kind of close to home before you
Yes,
ever got
it
there.
had.
Okay,
Guy lived down over the hill from me, got killed over.
okay, gotcha. Dad, do you remember many people from your area?
Oh, I know one. He was a year ahead of me. He was a door gunner. Got killed.
Okay,
There was a couple others, I think.
the same thing for you. Did you know much about Vietnam or what was going
Just
on?
what was on the news.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when I was in, I think it had to be in basic training. We had I think he was a sergeant. I know he was a sergeant. He just come back from Nam. He was a heck of a nice guy. You didn't find too many of them, really. Usually they was pretty rough on you. But this guy was super nice. I really liked him a lot. But he told us, he says there's more people killed in the United States in car wrecks than they are in Vietnam in a day. Just, there were more people killed in a day in car wrecks.
My rebuttal to that would have been there's more people driving cars in the United States than there are people in Vietnam.
But yeah, that's what he told us, that there's more people killed in car wrecks than they was in Vietnam in a
When
day.
you're 18, 20 years old,
Yeah,
you
probably-
never have to believe that, too.
It was probably a reassuring thing
It
to hear.
probably wasn't 2 weeks later he was killed in a damn car wreck.
Oh, damn.
God.
That's
Yeah,
ironic.
that was rough.
Yeah, that's pretty ironic and shitty.
Yep.
Yep. Do you remember? I'm guessing Vietnam. Did you land in the Saigon area?
I think that's where the big airport was at, but I can't swear to that, Brian.
Okay, so you've been to Kentucky and Virginia and Tennessee, and now you're in a jungle.
Mm-hmm.
How much different was that?
Well, it's like I said, when you land, they come on the plane, they tell you all this stuff, and like where the bunkers are at in case something happens, and it's bad when you when you're heading for your unit and you're sitting there, these pretty green clothes, you know.
So you have your dress uniform on?
Oh, no,
Just new fatigues?
fatigue,
Okay.
pretty and green. Well, and everybody knows you're a newbie. So they,
Can't hide it.
right, because you still got the pretty green uniform. That's the only time you got a pretty green uniform because, and I can remember we was on one of the, I don't remember the number of it. I just know it was an old military aircraft that flew from one base to the other over there. And this one guy's, I don't know how long he'd been over there, but he looked at me, he says, damn, he says, I hope this thing gets off there this time without that prop falling off.
Did you about shit down your leg?
Well, I was hoping he was bullshitting me.
Yeah.
But yeah, they poured on pretty bad when
Lot of hazing and teasing and whatnot at that.
it was bad, but it wasn't that bad too.
Yeah. Do you remember what was the climate like over there?
Hotter than Haiti.
Making Ohio summer look pretty mild.
But it was hot, but it's when it gets that hot over here, you know it. Over there, it wasn't. It didn't seem to be that bad.
It wasn't humid.
It just didn't seem that bad. I don't know why.
Okay.
But you during the monsoons, I mean, if you wanted to go somewhere, go, because usually by the time you would get where you was going, the sun would be out and you'd be dry.
Okay.
Because that's the way the fatigues was made to dry off.
Pretty quick.
Yeah, because of the guys in the field.
Yeah. So from landing on the ground, getting on the plane that take you to your base, is that what happened then?
Yeah.
So, I mean, you land on the base and get.
Well, you went to a reception center over there. You had always went to a place where everybody went to the same place, and then they would
distribute them.
Yeah.
Okay. So what? I mean, at that point, you're just walking around with your sea bag or whatever, your big green bag,
Yep.
and is that it?
Yeah.
Okay. So, but when you get to a base, do they issue your gear, your weapons, or?
Well, you had every. You know, I don't remember when I got the weapon, but it had to be when we was at the reception center. But I don't remember.
That's what I was wondering. I was wondering if they were having you go to from that place to your base unarmed.
I had to get it at the reception center.
Okay. I mean, did you get an M16 like everybody else did? Okay. How far was your base that you stayed at from that area? Because you've told me stories about going to Saigon on leave, haven't you?
Well, we started out at Black Horse.
So I guess we should have said what unit you ended up being a part of.
I was with the 11th Armored, or attached to the 11th Armored Cav, and I was with the 398th Transportation Division,
Okay.
which was helicopters, and we had a few trucks, but they was mostly for our use.
Okay. So was that the Black Horse then?
Yes.
Okay. I remember all your vehicles when I was growing up, they always had a Black Horse decal on the back of them.
Yeah.
Okay. So is that where you were the whole time then?
No, they give that to the Arvins.
So the Arvin was the Vietnamese, wasn't it?
Yes. They give that to them, and we moved to Red Catcher, I think it was called, and that's when we started being real naughty boys.
Okay, that's where the cool stories come from.
We was close to Vietnam then,
You mean Saigon?
yeah, Saigon.
So when you were with the Black Horse, you were a ways out then?
Yeah.
Okay, a little bit more remote.
Oh yeah.
Is that when you were most at risk then?
Well, yeah, you would. Yeah.
Okay.
And
So in those days, like at that time, I mean, the whole time you were doing the same job though, right? Okay. At that base, what was it like getting, I mean, you get there, get your stuff settled in, then go to work the next day, or?
oh yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. Do you remember what that base was? For the Black Horse?
Yeah. What do you mean?
What was the name of that place that you were at?
It was Black Horse.
That was the
First one was Black Horse.
That was the name of the base? Okay.
Yeah.
What was it?
Then we went to, I think it's called Red Catcher. And it was, I think, Long Bend in that area, I think.
Okay. What was a typical day like?
Well, you got up at a certain time. You went to work.
I mean, what'd you do at your job though?
Oh, well, we done PMs on the helicopter.
So you weren't assigned one helicopter, you're just doing it through a whole list of them?
Yeah.
Okay.
They would bring them in, have them worked on. We done a lot of stuff we wasn't supposed to. We wasn't supposed to change engines. We wasn't supposed to change transmissions. Wasn't supposed to change rotors. All we was supposed to, well, really, we was supposed to be door gunners. Is what it and we ended up, we done it all.
Okay.
There
Is
was
it,
certain stuff that we had to send to Saigon to be done, but it had to be pretty deep into the chopper.
well, I'd say an engine and transmission would be kind of deep in there, ain't it?
Wasn't that bad.
So is that just because of the lack of manpower that you
Yeah.
guys were asked to do these things?
Because if the chopper went to Saigon or whatever, it's until when we got it back.
So what would happen, I guess, whose liability would it be if you guys changed the engine, didn't know what you were doing, and it blew up in the air? I think you would have got in trouble, or you think it would have just been shit happens kind of
Well,
deal?
I don't know. Thank God it didn't happen, so I can't answer
Yeah.
that. I don't know. I just know I seen a loach come back in one time that had crashed, and it was in the back of a deuce and a half.
What's a loach?
It was a smaller helicopter.
So is that like the ones you would see on
Bubble helicopter, little one,
MASH?
but bigger.
Well, it was the one on MASH.
I mean, a small helicopter like this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But that chopper would go down treetop level, is what I'd heard, and we'll try to draw far from Charlie. And then he'd pull out. They'd throw smoke, they said, and then that Cobra would come in and just blow that area all to
I
heck.
think I'd like to be the Cobra guy a lot better than the bait.
That was the sweetest ride I was ever in.
You rode in a Cobra?
One time. God, that was,
So those were 2 seats?
yes.
How did you get that? How did you finagle that in there?
Oh, we was working on it.
It was-
And I just happened to be at the right place at the right time, because like you say, usually our, I can't remember what them guys were called, but they was over us. In other words, team leader,
Okay.
like a team leader, he was tell us what to do. If he wanted us to change oil, whatever, he would put us where he wanted us to work. I think it's 4 or 5 guys.
So he was usually the guy that was taking the joyride to make sure everything
Yeah,
was okay.
he could pull the whiskers. And like I said, that was a sweet
It
ride.
was just a lot faster and
Oh,
more
yeah.
agile.
Oh, yeah, and cockpit's 3 feet wide.
Did you push any buttons?
Boy, I still kick my ass today for not asking to fly.
To fire off the guns?
No. I know that wasn't gonna happen. They wasn't nothing.
They were going to let you fly it? You think?
Oh, they let them team leaders fly 'em.
Man, you dropped the ball on that one.
Yeah.
I'm guessing you haven't had the chance since.
You're pretty much right.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So you guys worked on more than just the Huey then?
Well, that's what we supposed to be working on. They was probably the crew in there working on it, and I don't know how the heck I got it, but I gotta go.
Okay.
And
Got it.
I mean, it could have been sitting on the flight line waiting on a pilot to come in to test it, and I just happened to be there.
Okay. Gotcha.
Hey, can I go? Can I go?
Yeah. That'd be a pretty unique experience.
Oh, it was. That
But
was one sweet ride.
Yeah. But you'd mentioned that smaller helicopter came back in the back of a truck. I mean, is that something that they'd try to fix back up, or
Oh,
they?
no, it was done.
I mean, is there any parts they're salvaging, or are they just throwing it in the boneyard?
It burnt when it went down.
Okay.
They just went and they salvaged what they could get of it, I guess.
Did you guys see many choppers that were just shot up pretty bad?
We didn't.
Okay.
The worst we'd ever see is maybe one come in and have bullet holes in the tail boom.
Okay. So you weren't having to work on ones that went down very often then?
Not, usually if they went down, they was,
They
Jump.
weren't getting worked on.
yeah.
I didn't know if one auto rotated if it'd be salvageable, or
Well, yeah.
if they.
it would, yeah,
Okay.
they'd go in after it, yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
If it had just a hard landing, they'd go in and get it.
Yeah. So were there any losses in your area while you were there? Like any of your coworkers or?
The only guy I ever seen that was he got shot was in our platoon. and they put this. Well, he was a teetotal idiot. In charge, they took our. First of all, they took our guns away from us.
That seems kind of ass backwards.
Yeah, and put them in the Connex. Then they put this. They give this one guy the key. And here you are. You know, we wasn't in a hot zone or nothing like that, but still, yet they could attack us anytime.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
We'd had to go to the Connex to get our guns to even protect ourselves.
I mean, I think you were there after the big New Year's fight, like the year before that, wasn't it?
I have no idea, Brian.
I can't remember what that was called.
Ted Offensive.
Yes. I mean, no one thought they were in a hot zone than that either. And,
I was over during one of them. I remember one,
okay.
but I think there was more than one of them.
I think I'd want my firearm.
But anyway, they took our weapons away from us, put them in the Connex, and the guy over the squadron, I can't even remember what they're called now, but he was the main man. He had a pistol. He carried a pistol. He did. And that idiot goes down to that Connex and gets his pistol out.
And this is your main guy.
No, the guy that's got the key to the Connex
Okay.
is going to be there to give us our guns or something, our weapons if something happens. And he gets the old man's pistol, brings it down to where we sleep at, the hooch. And this guy that he shot
Oh, shit.
he run parts for the choppers. He'd go to Saigon and, you know, places close it was safe for him to go. And he'd get parts when we need them. He'd run parts for us. And that kid was in the hooch that day, and that dumbass shot him.
Just didn't like him, or
No, it was an accident.
I'll say it sounds like a negligent discharge. Did it kill him?
No, he didn't kill him. But he wasn't there when night fell either.
Was that guy still there?
He was in the hospital.
No, I mean the one that shot him.
No, that's what I'm saying.
that's what I'm saying.
He
He was
wasn't there.
gone.
He wasn't there when night fell.
You ever hear?
They would have killed him.
Oh,
He would have been, because everybody liked that other guy. I mean,
Yeah.
he didn't bother nobody. He done his bit. He done his thing. He done his job. And then of all the people for him to pick, was the stupidest guy in the platoon.
yeah. I'm guessing he had to give the keys back before he left too.
We never heard a word about him after he left.
Yeah.
Not a word. So
Yeah.
I don't know what happened. Nothing about it, but
Was this on the Black Horse base or the other one?
Red Catcher.
Okay. But nothing ever on the Black Horse base?
No, I wasn't there that long.
Okay.
The only, I wasn't there. We had a maintenance ship, they called it, where we flew parts to Kwanloy or wherever they needed them. And there was a colored guy that was the crew chief. And for some reason, he walked around. The chopper was shut down, and the blades were just coming to a stop. And he, for some reason, walked into the tail rotor of that chopper.
Ooh.
I think it just knocked him loony for a little bit. But like I said, the blades were pretty much had quit turning.
Okay.
I mean, it didn't kill him, I don't think.
Okay. So you needed to duck when you're walking around that thing. And
You didn't need to walk close to that tail rotor because
well, in the movies, you always see them ducking when they're walking
You do,
into it. I
you
mean,
do.
is that thing spinning that low to the ground, the top road?
not really. But if it's on a bank, it could.
Oh, okay. Got it. So they just teach you to duck when you're walking up
Well,
to it.
it's something you're going to do.
Okay. Don't even have to teach
Seems
you.
like
You ever
natural
got in a-
reflex to me.
Yeah, if you got in a chopper, you'd be low crawling,
Okay.
especially you.
Yeah, I'm a little taller
But
than
it's
some.
just something you automatically do.
Okay.
No matter you know that blade ain't gonna hit you if it's sitting level.
Yeah.
It's like when you're riding a roller coaster and you come up to one of them caverns and you know that it's high enough to go through. Just like this.
Yeah.
Did you ever get to fly one of the Hueys?
No,
You didn't think to ask for that one either?
I didn't really ever get to ride in the co-pilot seat that much. Like I said,
Just the Cobra, yeah.
Team leader was the one that's up there.
So did you guys do a lot of test flights on the birds after you'd work on them?
Oh yeah, yeah. We dumb enough to get on the plow.
Or after you
Oh,
fixed
yeah.
them?
Oh, yeah.
So was that a pretty fun experience, or
Oh,
was
yeah.
it nerve-wracking?
No, enjoyed it.
Did you sit in the door gunner seat then, or were you just
No, I never sat in the door gunner seat.
okay? Gotcha. Any good stories about test flights going wrong?
No,
Any good stories
A1
about
mechanics.
Well, I thought you told me a story about taking one. They took you down the river or something,
oh well,
and you damn near fell out of it.
oh no, that wasn't close to the damn river.
Oh,
Oh man, that's scary.
well, what happened?
Well, had a new pilot come in, the best I remember, and this other pilot was showing him all about the bird. We're flying this way, 100 mile an hour or whatever. All of a sudden, we're coming this way. He's spinning around with the tail rotor. I was fighting for my life on that one, buddy.
I take it they forgot to tell you what was happening.
Well, if he did, I didn't hear him.
So most of the time in them helicopters, you're not strapped in. Then if you're in the back,
No, we didn't strap him.
in all the Vietnam War movies, the doors are always open too. Is that normal? I mean, they had doors on them, didn't they?
Yeah.
You just never closed them. Why not?
That'd been work.
Might have came in handy in that particular instance.
You ain't lying about that, buddy.
So how close were you?
I just know it.
If you'd been asleep, you'd have been falling out.
Oh, hell yeah. I mean, there's nothing to grab. Oh, that was scary.
Make you a little shaky on that one.
Yep.
Anything else?
That
Or
wasn't a good test flight.
was there any more of those, or was that the closest?
Oh, that was the closest.
Okay.
I can remember one time something was going on with the engine and we was way up high in the clouds. And there was this damn fighter jet went right across the top of us.
I'm guessing he didn't know you were there.
He wouldn't have done that if he knew we was there.
'Cause he was that close.
He was,
He wasn't fucking with you. He was just.
no, oh God, no.
He probably just as scared. Do you think, or just
I
as
don't
flustered?
even know if he's seen us.
Okay.
Oh, Jesus.
So from listening to different documentaries and stuff, it sounds like most of the time that when they have aircraft over a place, they have them stacked up in different altitudes. When you guys were doing those test flights, was that not a thing, or?
Not that I know of. We just went out and, like I love to fly up the Saigon River. Because we could break around them curves. I just enjoyed it. But usually we just go out flying. See Pampas on the buffalo, maybe go down and flop a little bit over them, watch them scatter.
But never had anybody shoot at you while you were doing that then? Or?
No.
So there were pretty big areas then where you really wasn't going to have to worry about getting shot at then?
Well, who's thinking when you're up flying and having a good time?
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't think about that.
That's how trouble usually starts. You're out having a good time with your buddies.
Yeah.
You know?
The difference is when I was out having a good time with buddies, I didn't have access to a helicopter.
And no one
You
was
didn't
shooting
need
at you.
one. You didn't need it.
So what was the base life like? I mean, were you working a 10-hour day or a 12-hour day and then you were off for 12? Or?
Best I remember, we got up, we went to work, we'd go back, eat lunch, go back to work. I think we went to 8 o'clock, and I think we quit at 5 o'clock. I think
Okay, so about
Yeah.
close to a 9 to 5 kind of job.
Yeah,
So what did you do in the off time?
whatever you wanted to do.
Well, what was that usually entailing?
Played a lot of cards.
Was you any good?
No. No, I sucked.
I mean, when people were off work, were they just kind of hanging out in the base and?
Well, usually we had the pothead bunker.
Okay.
Them guys was all right. I don't care what nobody says. I never smoked it, but they was the only ones that didn't bother you.
They was just very mellow.
They would come in, take their shower, and they went to the bunker. And that's where and when they come back in at night, you never knew they was coming in. You let somebody, let them get drunk, and you go get in your bed, go to sleep. Well, here comes a bunch of loudmouth drunks.
Uh-huh.
So I've never really known you to drink. I mean, did you try it at that? I mean, did you drink before Vietnam?
No.
Did you try it there?
Oh, yeah.
How'd that go?
Not
Were you one of the loudmouth drunks coming in, waking everybody up?
hell no.
Carry you in, did it?
Well, oh, God, that was a.
Must have.
Must be a reason why you still never drink any.
Well, I got sick. That was when I said, to hell with this. If this is what it's all about, I don't want it.
Okay.
But at the time first time I got drunk over there, we was still at Black Horse, and we had a real nice hangers for the choppers.
So was it easy to get alcohol on base? I mean, was it?
Yeah.
It wasn't against the regulations or anything.
No,
Okay.
you can buy it at the PX.
Okay.
And the first time I got drunk, and beer was cold, going down good.
Ice cold. Ice cold.
So,
Yeah.
run out of cold beer. Well, hell, everybody started drinking hot beer. I said, shit, I can do that too. One drink. My gut rolled over, and I knew what was going to happen, so I headed to the hooch. And there was a hell of a deep ditch of the road. I probably told you this.
You found
No, I don't know if I've heard this part of the story.
Well, anyway,
He either found the
I'm
bottom
over
of it
there
or filled
walking
it up.
up down the road in the dark, trying to find that little walkway to get across that damn ditch.
It must have been a deep ditch.
It was. So, needless to say, when I stepped, there was no bridge there. Well, here I am down in that ditch.
Is this like a 10-foot deep ditch or
It was
Okay.
probably up to my chest.
wasn't full of shit, was it?
No, it's just a drainage
Okay.
ditch. Well, anyway, here I am jumping up and down like a monkey trying to get out of that ditch. But I get to thinking, hell, this ain't going to work. So
Just start walking till you found the bridge.
That wouldn't have done no good either. So I put my foot against the back of it and pushed myself out. And then I went on to the hooch.
Had you puked yet?
That's coming. Anyway, I got to the hooch, and like a dumbass, I laid down. That bed was going 90 miles an hour. And when I got up to go, it was too late. I hit the screen door on the building, and when I hit it, everything hit it.
Oh.
Well, I'm outside, all bent over, dry heaves. Oh my God, I was hurting. And this guy that's over the building, the hooch, he says, you know you're going to have to clean that off, don't you? I said, man, if you just let me get straightened up, I'll clean it off. So
Yeah.
that was the first good drunk I got on.
Well, as a more experienced and seasoned drinker, I don't think that one drink of that warm beer is what did you in. You might have been done for before
Yeah,
that.
damage was done.
Well, probably so, but it really showed up when I took that warm drink.
Yeah.
But I'll take that back. I did get drunk in Fort Dix too. That was
Pre-nom or on the way out?
yeah. We was waiting on their flight, and thank God, they didn't call my name when I was laying in bed asleep because I was drunk. I'd already painted every forehider on Fort Dix because I was a day late going by.
Oh, you got in trouble, had to paint all of.
Oh shit! I painted all day. Oh hell yeah! Everybody says they'll give you a day of grace. Don't believe that.
They didn't give you, when they say be back on this day, they
Be
mean.
back.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, they all didn't. I mean, I didn't realize what the hell was even going on still yet. I mean, hell, it wasn't good.
Yeah. So whenever you were playing poker and stuff at the base, were you losing your whole paycheck every
No.
week?
No, sir. I put back 20 or 30 bucks.
Well, what were they paying you a month? Do you remember? Or was it weekly or monthly?
It was I want to say $160, $170.
A month.
Yeah.
Okay. Was everybody else following that strategy, or were you watching a lot of paychecks go out the window?
Oh, yeah. My buddy from Texas, I mean, me and him come real close for some reason. And I could go down to his Foot Locker or his Wall Locker and eat like a king. And he sent his whole payday home.
So he was
everybody else's.
He was good at playing cards.
okay. That must have been while you were buddies with him, because that's where the food was. This is all
Yeah,
math
makes
starting
sense.
to jive here.
Makes sense.
Yep.
Yep, I could go down to, his last name was Griff. That's what I called him anyway, Griff. And we played a lot of solitaire. Like you would, I guess, in Vegas. You bought the deck for so much.
Hell, I don't know. I'm not a gambler.
I don't remember, but I know I got us in debt, and he always got us out.
Sounds like a good buddy to have.
Yeah.
So have you talked to him any since Nam?
I've really not talked to any guys that I was close to over there.
Okay, gotcha. So when did I guess I should back up. My whole life I've known you as someone who could drive a semi. And is it my understanding that you learned that skill while over there
Well,
accidentally?
my buddy from Kingston, Tennessee, or Kingsport, Tennessee, he drove the water truck. It was a tanker truck.
Okay. And this is when you're on the red catcher base?
Yeah. He hauled the water for the shower.
I mean, they didn't have county water?
They was working on that.
Okay.
They was digging the ditches when I
That's
was
the
over there.
ditch he fell in.
That could have been, it would have worked. But anyway, that's when I really got into trucks, being around them.
Yeah.
And I never drove the semi over there.
Just the water truck. So is that a deuce and a half with a tank on the back?
That's what I drove.
Okay. So were you just doing that in your off time then?
No, I ended up, well, when Monk was there,
This is your buddy?
yeah, that's all he done. He had it made
Man, he was just a water hauler.
at one time, and then before that, I know at one time he run the wrecker. They had a 5-ton wrecker, I think it was, 5 or 10-ton wrecker.
Okay.
And that's what we'd use to pull the transmissions and the engines and the heads off of the,
Helicopters?
yeah.
Okay.
And that's all he done. He had it made. But when he left, I got the job.
Okay, so at that point, you didn't have to be a helicopter guy anymore?
I had to be, but he did.
Oh, so you had to do both of them?
Yeah.
Well, tell me. So I've heard stories of you taking, heard stories about the way I understood it when I was a kid and you tell me these stories. If you had that water truck, no one really questioned what you was doing.
Never.
I mean, that was basically your ticket to anywhere you wanted to be.
It was
And
no-
that if there wasn't any water in it, a lot of people could fit in that tank.
Well, heck, yeah. The only thing is that when they decided to do that one night, now I had nothing to do with
So
it.
you weren't driving?
No, not
You weren't in the tank?
No, not when that happened. But they stopped by the MP headquarters, whatever you want to call it.
Is that the checkpoint to go into the base?
So this was going out.
Or, yeah, in and out. Or,
Yeah. Well, no, they had to put them in there before they got to the checkpoint,
yeah. Okay, I got you.
but they was helping to stop in front of the MP headquarters.
To put them in?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So the old man was sitting in his office watching them.
Watched all these people file into this daggone water truck.
Yeah, and so they pull up to the gate. Boy, we better check you out today. So they took them out the tank.
Did those guys paint a lot of fire hydrants or fences or?
Oh no, not over there.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
okay.
don't know. I don't know what they would
What-
have done to them. Not much, I don't think.
Yeah. So was it pretty common for people at that base being closer to town to sneak out at night?
Well, you didn't sneak out. You got a pass or something.
Well, those guys were clearly sneaking out though.
Well, yeah, they were, but it didn't work
Okay, but it wasn't easy to sneak out if it didn't have a pass in.
at certain times.
Okay.
Certain times. I mean, especially after dark, you could, because once you went past that guard station, you was AWOL if you didn't have a pass.
But those guys were willing to risk it.
Oh yeah, every day.
Yeah. What were they doing?
Just headed Saigon.
What were they doing there?
I don't know.
It's hard to say, not knowing.
Yeah, they could have been looking for a Papa San.
Papa San, wouldn't they be looking for a Mama San?
No, Papa Son had to go get her.
Oh. Gotcha. So, I mean, everything else could be found on the base, though, right? I mean, as far as like a good time, but,
Not on base.
well, you said you could get booze and play cards.
Well, yeah,
But, I mean, if you wanted women, you had to go into town.
right.
Okay. Gotcha. So, when you started driving the water truck, I mean, did you know how to drive a semi at all
Yeah,
before then?
Yeah. Oh, no, I learned everything over there. I got started over there.
Okay. Was that a pretty cushy gig, or was it a pain in the butt because you were still having to work on helicopters?
Well, it wasn't as sweet as it was when I applied for it. Probably would have kept me at the same job.
Did you gain more money?
No.
Then what was the point of having it? You had to do more work and
Free ticket to Saigon anytime you wanted it.
Oh, sounds like George is going to Saigon.
I did a few trips.
All in the water. So at that point, are you near the end of your time over there? Once you started running the water truck?
It was getting close.
Okay. Did you tell me you had re-enlisted or signed up to stay at extra in country so you could get out sooner?
I stayed 13 months and 13 days over there to get early out when I come back home.
Okay. So when you start, I mean, your 13 months is coming up and you got a few days left. I mean, are you doing an out processing or anything? Or are you going to work one day and getting on a plane the next?
You got a few days off.
I mean, at that point, are you
Yeah.
turning your stuff in and,
Well, I can't remember having to turn anything in, to be honest with you. I mean, they bring you your orders, and you had to be, they'd take you to wherever your orders were,
okay.
and you got on the plane and headed home. Then you was processed. I went through Fort Dix, going over, come back through California.
Okay. First time to California, I take it?
Yes.
Only time?
Yeah. No, I went one time in the truck.
Oh, okay. What was the attitude like on the plane coming back from Vietnam? A lot of happy people?
Happy.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine how, I mean, I'm sure there was a lot of emotion
When
on it.
it left the ground, it lit up a little bit.
Yeah. Was there pretty attractive flight attendants?
Well, that I don't remember.
I didn't know if they came out with the cakes and beers and.
Oh, no. They want to keep you sober till at least get rid of your ass.
So after you landed, how long were you in the Army after that? I mean, back in the
I
States.
went into the reception center, or whatever they called it, I don't remember. And they process your paper and give you a ticket to wherever you was going. And
All of a sudden, you're done.
yep, I was done when I come back.
Okay, so you were in the military for roughly just short of 2 years then?
Oh, I didn't pull 2 years.
Okay. Was there many people that took that option, or does it just depend on what job you had?
No, I'd say there's a lot of guys done it, but I don't really
I think if I was in a place where I was getting shot at more often, I'd be more inclined to,
just get the hell out of Dodge and
Yeah.
come back and pull your stateside time.
yeah. Yeah. So after you get out of the military, what's life look for you then? I mean, are you heading back to Jellicoe trying to find you a job, or where are you at?
I went back to Jellicoe, and I think, if I'm not badly mistaken, I might have got married shortly thereafter. And didn't even have a job like a dumb butt. And ended up, my brother-in-law got me a job driving a coal truck.
Okay, so that's when you really started commercially
Yeah.
driving.
Yeah.
Did you have to have a CDL then?
No, Lord, no.
Okay. And this would have been early 70s?
You had to have chauffeur's license.
Okay.
That's what they called them then.
Okay. And this was early 70s?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you save any of your military pay, or was it pretty well?
Well, I sent my mom a allotment every month.
Okay.
I don't remember. I think I paid 25, and the Army paid 25. And she had saved every penny of it for me,
Okay.
which I was sending it to her for her to use.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she'd saved every penny.
Yeah. What did your mom do for a living back then?
Back then, I don't think she worked at that time.
Okay.
She is getting older, I think, and
Yeah.
best I remember.
So did you?
When was growing up, she cleaned houses, done a lot of house cleaning for people.
Did you buy any cool cars with your military money?
My ex-brother, or my brother-in-law had a 55 Chevy he had traded around and got. And I told him, I said, save it for me, I want it. So he did. And that was, first 55 I owned was when I come back from the military.
Okay, you remember what it was?
What?
I mean, was it stock or was it hot
yeah,
rod?
It was stock.
Okay. Didn't you have a buddy that had a Chevelle? Like, I remember you telling me a story about you doing a burnout in front of a policeman in a Chevelle.
That was Robert's car.
What was it? I mean, did he just come back from the military too?
Yeah. I don't remember how many months after I was drafted, he was drafted. And then when he come back, his mom had saved his money too, so he ended up with a new 70 Chevelle.
Was it a 454 or was it a
396.
still pretty cool car?
Oh, hell yes.
So what did you? I'm guessing that he obviously let you drive it if you did a burnout in front of the cops.
Oh, well, I went home for something, and he let me drive it. And there was after I got back on the main road, I seen my buddy coming, so we stopped and bullshitted.
He also had a Chevelle, didn't he?
Oh, he had all kinds of cars, but yes.
Okay.
And Joe never pulled out unless he smoked the tars.
Tire salesman's favorite guy.
Oh, yeah. And that damn day, Joe pulls out and goes up the road like he's got some freaking sense. I didn't look in my mirror. I light him up. Look back, and there's a damn blue lights flashing, or red lights, whatever it was back then. It just so happened he was on a mission, thank God.
Did he stop you?
Oh, yeah. Give me a tongue lashing. Said if I wasn't, he's doing something. Said I'd take your ass to jail.
Well, luckily for you, he was not taking your
Yeah.
ass to jail that day.
I'm glad he was on a mission.
Yeah. So, in the coal field or coal mine, how long did you drive there?
Oh, probably about 6 months.
Okay, and those were our models, is that right? Dump trucks.
Yeah, down there they was.
Okay. Where did you go from there? I mean, at some point you end up moving up to Ohio.
Went to another place that hauled coal in Williamsburg, Kentucky. Worked down there for a little while, and then I don't really know what happened, why I quit, or if they moved or what. But anyway, I ended up driving a semi for a guy down home.
Wrong cup. That was cold. People pay good money for that ride.
For cold coffee, ain't me.
But ended up driving that guy that owned
Was that the over the road
yeah,
job you took?
that guy that owned it.
So did you see the snowman? I mean, you were over the road driving about the time Smokey and the Bandit was a thing. I didn't know if you seen
You
the
never
Bandit.
delivered Coors Banquet?
No.
No, okay. You
I
didn't make the Georgia
we
to
did-
Texarkana run?
We did deliver some beer, but I don't remember what kind it was.
Did you have a blocker?
No.
You didn't have
We
the car
told-
driving in front
I
of you?
mean,
We
driving,
didn't have to be there early.
driving a truck wasn't quite like they make it out in the movies.
That's like, what was that guy's name that had the monkey?
BJ and the Bear?
Yeah,
BJ McKay?
yeah.
Do you remember that for any
I
particular,
do.
particular reason?
Yeah. That monkey was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any good truck driving stories?
I hated it.
Hated it. So you just decided to do that for a career?
Well, I had good jobs after.
I mean, you just didn't like the over the road
No,
part?
that was it.
Okay. Yeah. How long did you do that?
Not, I'd say probably 6 months. or
Okay.
maybe a
Oh,
little
okay.
longer.
So not very long then.
Yeah, it wasn't that long.
Didn't take long to figure out you weren't cut out for over the road.
Well, it wasn't, I wasn't cut
Wasn't a
out, it
fan.
was I didn't like it.
Right.
I didn't like being away from home.
Yeah. Well, I can remember you telling me a story about getting stranded in a snow or an ice storm in Texas
That was the first trip I ever took in my life
shit.
in a truck.
in a semi.
Yeah.
You got stuck in an ice storm.
Yeah. We made it out there all right. And then, we had a load of carpet going out there. Coming back, I think we had maybe 10,000 pounds of Mattel toys. Wasn't good for snow, no weight.
Yeah.
And,
This is in
we-
Texas?
Yes, we sat in Texas for a week. Because we started to leave once, and there's a bridge right in front of us. And damn, there went the snow and ice flying. It'd been a wreck, so he just circled around the truck stop and pulled back in.
So
the
you're
car.
driving teams at that point?
Yeah.
So I was thinking about you last year whenever I went to pick up a motorhome in Texas. And while sitting there looking at this motorhome, buying it and getting ready to leave, it starts icing. I was thinking about you the whole time. Now, I was dumb enough, I had decided to travel on, but I did not wreck.
Yeah, but you had more experience than a lot of people down there.
Yeah, but what was starting to really get me, though, they start closing roads. If they wouldn't have closed the roads, I'd have kept on keeping on. But I eventually got to a point where I didn't have a choice.
Okay.
I mean, it was parked because everything out in front of me was closed.
I don't know if they ever closed them that time or not. I mean, I didn't hear if they did.
Say the first time we got, I mean, we're driving along we got a long drive. I mean, we were in, I bought that thing in Vidor, Texas, which is about an hour east or west of Louisiana. So our plan was to drive about 6 hours, 6 hours, stop, go to the Memphis Bass Pro Shop at the big pyramid right there at the river the next morning, and then travel on home. So we start driving, and it starts icing shortly after we leave. And I start getting notifications on my phone that I-10 is closed in 100 miles. And I'm thinking, well, they got a wreck. They'll probably have it cleaned up before we travel 100 miles. So I'm just hitting refresh. And finally, there's roads in front of us are starting to get closed, like way ahead of us, like 150, 250 miles ahead of us. I'm like, we're going to have to route around them roads. There must be a bunch of wrecks going on. Then finally I realized these roads aren't closed for a wreck. They're closed because they're covered in ice. And we ended up on a 2-lane highway traveling through a swamp. I thought for sure we were screwed. I was like, oh, what have I got us into? About hit a herd of horses.
Okay.
Yeah, driving along about 10 o'clock at night, this freaking 40-foot motorhome, and AJ's over there about half asleep, and it's icy, and I'm on a road about the size of 327.
Oh, boy.
And, I mean, luckily it's straight and fairly flat, and all of a sudden, I see a freaking horse dart in front of me, and I just out of instinct slam on the brakes. And I can't believe we didn't come around.
So tell me, AJ woke up just enough to say, "Don't hit the unicorns."
He thought I was losing my. He thought I was asleep. He thought I woke up and was dreaming.
Might have been.
And then I think he's seen the tail of one of them. But yeah, I was thinking about you the whole time
Yeah.
from that story.
But
So your cell phone didn't come on at that time and tell you the roads were closed or
I
nothing?
don't think we had cell phones.
I'll bet there was a lot of CB chatter.
We're still using the payphone on the wall.
Yeah. So when you quit over the road driving, is that when you started moving towards Ohio?
Yeah, I come to, with my first wife's brothers, they drywalled. So I moved up here and started drywalling with them. And just so happens that I didn't like my pay scale.
Ah.
Kinda sucked. So the lady that we lived next door to in English Village in Columbus, she was a secretary or something at a factory up there, and I asked her if they was hiring. She said, well, they just hired some security guards, but didn't you tell me you used to drive a truck? I said, yeah, I did. So my husband is a dispatcher at Roadway. So that's how I got on at Roadway.
Okay. And Roadway, was that a lot better trucking gig for you then?
Oh, God.
I mean, you were local delivery, weren't you?
Yeah, P&D driver.
Okay. So that's why you got pretty good back in semis.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
But everywhere you delivered.
pretty tight turning and backing in.
Well, 90% of the time you was backing into a dock.
Yeah. Yep. So how long were you you were at Roadway in Columbus, then you eventually got transferred to Chillicothe, or you put in for it?
Well, they had just opened the terminal up down here, and I told my wife, I said, let's drive down Chillicothe to see if we can find that terminal.
Were you just wanting to get out of the city?
Yeah, we was just riding around. And it just so happens that when I got down here, the guy that I worked for in Columbus, he come down as dispatcher. And I got to talking to him, and he talked me into doing it,
Yeah.
which at first it was a mistake. But they took 2 road drivers and 1 dock worker, I think's the way it was.
Okay.
Because I was the only dock worker that come down. And both of the road drivers shouldn't have done it
Okay.
because both of them had back problems.
Gotcha.
And they ended up not working anymore because the doctors wouldn't let them because of their back. So I ended up number 1 down here. So I done pretty good then. I mean, I pretty much run where I wanted to.
Okay. So how long were you at Roadway in Chillicothe?
I was with Roadway almost to the day, 15 years.
Is that total time or is that just in Chillicothe?
That's all of it.
Okay. And I don't know how many of the viewers know this, but the main reason you couldn't work anymore is because you had a heart attack, right?
Yeah,
So you were fairly young when that happened too, weren't you?
38.
38 years old? Okay. And at that point, was it just a lift restrictions why they wouldn't let you stay?
The second time,
Oh, okay.
I went back to work the first time after I had the first heart attack. But the second time, they wasn't planning on letting me go back to work because my terminal manager walked out of the doctor's office and I walked in. Yeah, so I was done.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a good job. I walked into that damn doctor's office and come back out on the street because I was done. And they said he didn't want me lifting over 50 pounds. I said, well, I don't have to. But he says, I know you will.
I've seen you lift more than 50 pounds a few times.
So that's how they got rid of it.
Yeah. So at that point, though, we kind of missed a couple of things. You were married to my aunt then. At that point, weren't you?
Yeah.
So when did you and Aunt Becky get married?
Now you're asking me questions. A long time ago.
Do you remember, Dad? So Aunt Becky is my mom's sister.
Were you guys married before or
80s?
after Barry and Lori?
In the 80s.
I think they was married. Yeah, they was married for. I got it in my brain here. Just give me a minute.
Got everything wrote down in there.
Mid-80s, we farmed Sunrush out there.
Yeah, yeah.
You helped us out there.
So, Dad, what did you think of George when you seen him first time?
She said, where'd you find that?
That woke me up.
Well, I know she's over about half dozed off.
Yeah, the first time I seen, well, your Aunt Becky worked at Corner Markets.
Yeah.
There's quite a big age discrepancy between the two of you. I mean, 12 years, 12, 13 years between you and Aunt Becky. I mean, there's something like that.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
there's 10 between me and her, I think. And
Yeah.
but yeah, the first time Becky finally brought him around. Picture this. Remember how the afros were back then? They remember
Yeah.
big afros.
She talked me into it.
She taught you to get in the fro.
Well, he had that, and I thought, Jesus.
Did I have it
She
then?
find
Did I have it then?
Yes.
I've seen a
I
picture.
thought, what did
I've
she-
seen the picture. Yeah.
Because she,
It was
you
at a
know,
wedding, I think.
yeah, that probably, I don't know, she had some boyfriends. And I thought, man, it's a dandy.
So,
Yeah, she talked me into it. I can't believe it either.
yeah. Well, in my lifetime, you and George have always been really close.
Oh, yeah.
So, how long did it take before you guys started? I mean, when did you have him start helping you?
I don't know.
I started really driving after the roadway got rid of me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
but
I mean, you were
before
helping
that-
before that. Sounds like.
Yeah, I don't
That's
know.
usually when I was on vacation or something.
Yeah.
So, what did you think of Dad and Mom first time you came around them?
He had an afro.
He did.
No, I didn't.
He had them big sideburns
Yeah,
then.
had the pork
Oh,
chops.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, back then that was a fad, wasn't it? Sideboard and afros. Yeah.
Sure did. She talked me into it.
It was, I want to say mid-80s.
I went into the Army the first month, the 20th day of 1969, and I come out 8/27/70.
Okay. He does have everything wrote down in there.
Well, if I can find it, I got that other too.
You got your last bowel movement?
I can remember them.
Oh.
They're close together.
But I think before you guys got back married there, I think you missed a car, didn't you? Didn't you have a Corvette?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot he had a
And
Corvette.
his first wife had a
I
Corvette.
say that lost that in the first marriage, didn't you? Or did you surrender it in the first marriage?
No.
Shit. It would have
Cause
had
I
to,
ain't,
it had been in the 70s when you guys got married.
He was married to his
No.
first wife in the 70s.
Well, he divorced. They moved down here and divorced.
Dad, I'm pretty sure I was in their wedding.
well, I thought I had it in
I
here.
mean, Becky would have graduated in like 78.
I think Mary and Lori were
yeah.
married in like
Yeah.
84 or so.
Yeah,
and you
you're
guys were shortly after that,
you're
maybe?
right. So we farmed Sunrush.
See, Dad relates everything to where he was farming and who was there when.
Well, yeah, I can.
Well, he also says we farmed here in the 70s, which we may have, but there's pictures of me riding around in a tractor here.
76 when they threw us out, or when we lost.
He says this, but
I've never
Bambi was found here, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
or where the dump's at.
okay.
Uncle John found her.
Well, is he talking about the part of the dump that used to be ours?
No, up on the hill.
Okay, we're getting way off topic here.
You see what I'm saying? Right?
I read it when I got out of school.
Yeah, but if he was alive when you found this deer, he was born in 78.
Shit.
People are real confused when we're talking about Bambi, but Mom and Dad had a pet deer. Do you remember the pet deer, George?
I was probably 5 or 6 years old.
So
We
you
had a
found
pet
the
deer.
you found the pet deer when George was around. He remembers it.
Okay, that's been
Yeah,
the 80s.
I remember. having-
Had to be.
Yeah, it must have been in, they started the landfill in 76. We got to find, yeah, must have been in the mid 80s.
At any rate.
Yeah. Back to George here. So you get do they call it a layoff or do they call it a firing or how'd they classify that?
I don't know how they classified it, but I just know that I didn't have a job when I come out of that doctor's office because I couldn't pass the physical.
At that point, was there unemployment benefits at all, or
I was married, excuse me. 11/19/1982.
Okay. So Barry and Lori must have been married after you.
Yeah,
Was it?
wasn't long after, yeah. Same church, Kingston. Church, yeah.
Because didn't Becky live in an apartment in
Yeah.
Kingston?
Yeah.
Like an upstairs apartment? Because I can remember, I don't know why, but I kind of remember
Right
that.
over the, right
Laundromat.
over the laundromat, wasn't it? Yeah.
And she went down and put her clothes in the dryer or the washer one, come back, they's gone.
Oh, shit.
Somebody stole all her
Oh, no.
clothes.
Right beside your Rachel's grandpa's funeral or
Oh,
casket.
Where they had the,
Casket
where they had the vault
built-
company?
Yeah, vault company.
Okay.
so? After you took your leave of absence from Roadway, what was your next move? Like, what did you do? I mean, like you said, at that point, I think did you guys have the house yet on Carmel Drive?
Yeah.
So I mean,
Yeah.
you had a mortgage payment. I mean, you had bills. What did you do?
I had been buying savings bonds.
Okay,
That's what saved me.
so you had to cash out all those then.
Yep.
Okay, so how many year gap was there before you were able to really get back on your feet, like working wise?
I went to work with him.
Oh,
Well, didn't you work for Cites for a little while?
yeah, you worked for them some, helped them some, yeah.
Yeah.
That's how you guys got to know Cites, wasn't it?
No, I'd known them.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
But I'd known some, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I don't know, I might have worked out there a month.
yeah, you were.
Okay.
It wasn't very long.
So you started helping Dad a lot more frequently then.
Yeah.
And I can remember being a kid, you always had a lawn mowing gig. I mean, you just seemed like you were always doing some kind of odd job to make a little extra cash here and there.
Me and Ben did after he was born.
Yeah. Okay.
But,
What?
I mean, I didn't work every day for him.
Right. Yeah.
Had the old brown Datsun, was it?
Yep, yep. Sure was.
You had a Datsun.
Yeah,
I just remember.
For a long time.
I remember the S10.
Oh, that was that later.
yep.
Had a Datsun, and did you have like a maroon colored Ranger or something after that?
That was after the S10.
Is that the S10?
That's one
No,
Becky still
I-
has.
Yeah,
No, I was thinking there was one between the Datsun and the
I
S10.
don't think so.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure I traded at Dotson in.
Okay.
After the S10 was probably the van. When was it?
I bought that off of Dave, but I can't tell you when.
The Safari van.
Hell yeah.
Got
I
you right
drove
back.
that old sucker for a long
Well,
time.
then you got the Ford, then you bought the Ranger, didn't you, after that? Or
No,
was it
you had the
Ford?
Ranger and
Same,
the
okay.
family van.
Okay. Whatever.
But What did you think of going from trucking every day to being a farmhand? Was that a big adjustment, or?
Well, of course it was. I mean, when I had a job 5 days a week, and
Yeah.
then boom, you don't got nothing.
A little bit more free time.
And you wonder what the hell you're going to do.
Yeah.
And like I said, it just so happened had quite a few savings bonds, and only had another good surprise, which when I got 15 years with Roadway, I got 5 weeks vacation. So I got 5 checks in the mail.
Because you didn't use your vacation time?
Yeah, it was really nice, which I had no idea I was going to get that.
Okay. So that kind of helped you bridge that gap then.
Oh, yeah.
What was it like going from working at a place where you had a regular schedule, everything was kind of regimented, you knew your dispatch, where you were going to be and everything, to working with him?
It was horrible.
I
I'll tell you what, you couldn't ask for a better guy to work for, him and John both. He was good to me. And I mean,
How long good times? Long
he
good
really didn't holler too loud when I screwed up.
yeah.
No, I don't think you screwed up, Eddie.
Oh, yeah. Oh, hell yes.
Well, you always told me you got to run the bulldozer one time.
Yeah.
I broke it, and he wouldn't let me back on it, that's for damn sure.
That wasn't because you, you broke. Yeah, I burned Uncle Bill's on it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, you were involved in
I was having fun that day.
Yeah.
Was you involved in digging that pond, or?
No, I was leveling dirt piles off.
Yeah.
I mean, I just went down there to hang around and see what the heck he was doing, and next thing I know, you want to drive down there? Oh, hell yeah. And then it had to break.
Yeah, if I was right with
Then he pretty much tore the trailer all to shit trying to get that thing on it. Remember
Oh, I've
that?
never heard this part.
Oh,
What'd you
yeah.
tear up, Dad?
I don't remember.
Ramp,
Oh, Ram.
remember?
How'd we get up on there? Drove it?
Oh, yeah, you drug it up
Drove,
there.
drove one
Drug
side.
that one side up there. And
I've done that several times. The backhoe or the track hoe, I did that too. Final drive out of it. Had to load
Probably
it.
easier with the tractor,
Yeah.
though.
Yeah, you use a
This
boom.
Yeah.
sprocket broke on that dozer. Remember that?
Well, I had to go to the rear end, the final drive or something broke
Yeah,
inside.
well, you
too.
probably
Yeah,
did
yeah,
to
yeah,
put a new,
yeah,
it broke off just flush with
yeah,
where it.
yeah.
And I think you called Danny Grayson, was talking to him
Yeah.
about it, and he said they was known to do that.
Yep. What do we have? The old Louisville. Do we have the Mac then too?
No,
Just Louisville?
I think, yeah, just
I
a
had the
little.
Mac earlier, before that.
Yeah,
So you never hauled in line in the old freight liner we had?
no,
Okay, that's before your
there's
time.
Randy Riddle,
Yeah, before your time, yeah.
and
You-
maybe Darrell. Darrell might have hauled
He might have hauled a little. I don't think he drove that freight liner. It was at, Brad, at the old, Detroit we had off Jill Lane.
Oh, no, that thing wasn't around that long.
Yeah.
You have any other good stories of Dad breaking stuff? He doesn't usually tell me about those.
Not me. I never broke. John always did.
So John was Dad's brother who farmed with him.
Yeah, but like I said, I mean, both of them was good to me. Damn good to me.
So did you work much with John? I always thought you, for the most part, worked with Dad. Didn't you?
I drove I had my preference. I'd want to work with Bob.
Well, it seemed like Uncle John always had one of his buddies helping him, and you seemed
Yeah.
like you were always helping
And a
Dad.
lot of times, John was a one-man band.
Yeah.
Okay.
He run the combine, haul it. Because a lot of times he was hauling to
Oh,
the house.
Yeah.
And we was usually be going to town.
or harnesses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, later on, yeah. Well, I guess, yeah. You was helping us just before we started farming harnesses then.
Any good Uncle John stories?
Wasn't around him that much. Just all I remember, I mean, he was real good to me, and
What-
if
were
I
you-
was loading corn, he'd make sure everything was going good for me, and, well, I guess they are a good one too. He kinda disc a road one night.
If I say, were you around for any of these good ones?
I was around for that one, cause I was standing, for some reason, I was down to the end of I was loading the corn. I was loading the corn or beans one.
at our old, at the old
Yeah,
bins,
at
at our house.
House, and Darrell pulled up and said, "Did you see anybody go up through there with a tractor?"
Oh, shit.
And the track slid right up the driveway.
So
No, Daryl, I didn't see anything.
we probably ought to give a little
Well, I
backstory.
didn't.
Probably ought to give a little backstory. So my Uncle John, which I think was pretty common at that time, liked to partake in several adult beverages and farm at the same time. Not recommended, folks, but story I've always heard was one night he came home and did a hydraulic line break or did he hit the wrong button? Is that what he said happened?
I
Yeah, I think
he forgot to fold it.
he could get drunker than a skunk and could drive. But that night he came out of the field because he did all the disking, working the ground while and I planted everything. So he comes out with the disc and had I don't know what disc we had, John Deere or what we had. I think it was that old Bush Hawk disc, whatever, fold up disc, but it had probably the 8430 we had articulated. And he hit the lever. It went down. It was the wrong button. It went down a little bit. He kept hitting the wrong button, raised up, he said.
Clicked it the wrong way.
Yeah, whatever. But he went, you see right when he come out of the field, clear the goddamn house.
Come up there and took that guy's mailbox out, went across the railroad track.
Crossed the railroad tracks too there.
Yeah, you can follow him home.
Oh, yeah. Then, oh, God, there was many times. Come in up the creek here. Come in that one night, hell, we had power, telephone wire, reached clear down to my house.
Well, the one George is talking about, though, when he dissed the road, I mean, that one's a little harder to hide.
Yeah.
And luckily for him, his brother-in-law was a deputy sheriff.
Yeah.
That was it.
So he managed to finagle his way out of that one, I believe.
Well, that was the last I heard about it.
Well, we seen Daryl at Taylor's probably a couple months ago, and he was giving us his side of the story, and it was pretty funny.
Oh, I never heard his side.
It was pretty entertaining. Yeah, that's why I was curious if you were around for that, or the foam pole, or the combine flipping, or.
Oh yeah, remember him and old Bowie was lucky on that.
Yeah, real lucky.
Real.
Which is why you don't drink and farm, folks.
But he had a heart attack and, God, when was it? I don't know.
Now you say he quit drinking after that heart attack, but
Quit smoking.
He quit smoking just like that, cold turkey, and he didn't drink as much because of his medication.
well, you say that,
He'd
and
eat hard candy.
whenever he was unable to farm anymore, and I started using his tractors, all the consoles were full of Bud Light caps.
Those may have been collected over the years and just not
The tractor
disposed
was
of.
only 2 years old.
Well, it took 2 years to get that many.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, him and Pappy'd help him drink some too, but not like John did. But anyway,
Did Dad drink like that back in the day?
Yeah.
I've never heard stories of it, so I was just curious.
He never drank. Not
he,
when he was
he
working.
would he would quit 5 o'clock or so.
Grandpa or
Yeah. John, he just
yeah.
they'd give town. We'd take a load of grain in and stop at the corn
Quit
market.
drinking or quit working?
No, quit drinking.
Oh,
Dad would know he'd work.
was Grandpa trying to sober up before he got home to Grandma?
Well, he just supper time. He didn't miss supper. John would eat whatever. Usually go to the Eagles. They'd make the Eagles in there. But anyway, they'd take a load of grain in. Dad would take a load of grain in and stop and get a 6-pack or 12-pack.
Well, I'd always heard he'd take a load of standard elevator, stop and get a shot on the way there.
Well, not stopping on the way there. Not when he's hauling grain, but when he's in the pickup he would. But not usually, unless we weren't doing it the rest of the day or something.
Okay. So, some point, I kind of remember when this happened. Well, I guess first off, you had a child, Aunt Becky had a child,
Yeah.
and at that point, you were in their 40s, weren't you? 44, 45.
When?
When you had Ben.
Oh, let's see. I was not. He was born in '93.
Yeah. So you'd just been about ready to turn 45.
And I had to,
Yeah. Or no, you just turned 45.
yeah, I was his grandpa when he was born.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. Was children just something you never really put much thought
I
of?
was happy. She wasn't, but I was.
No, I mean, you didn't want to have kids, or you did want to have kids?
Yeah.
Okay. Just waited till you were 45
No,
to.
it just happened.
Just have,
Okay.
I poked her good.
must have. Look what you got.
Hey, you didn't blow the balls off of it.
Actually, yeah, that's good.
Yeah. So how did that change things for you? Because I always remember you being a very involved father.
Yeah,
And I remember it benefited me because Dad was usually working, and I'd just tag along with you guys.
yeah.
I mean, did that change your outlook on like your financial situation or anything? Or
Well, I mean, you lived with what you had.
okay, I mean,
Of course, it changed.
yeah,
You learned to live on a whole lot less.
yeah, yeah. So whenever Ben was born, shortly after that, you guys moved over to the main farm.
Yeah.
Was that a good thing, or
I sure can't complain about it.
I mean, I guess you're still living in the same spot, so
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, when I know after the old man's sister passed, we was over checking the house or something.
So at that point, you were working for Dad, but you were also working for the fellow that owned that farm at the time. So
He had another job helping me. Made him a lot more money than I'd paid him.
Huh?
He had another job. The shop.
Oh, that.
I ain't talking. We are not there yet. We are not there
We
yet.
ain't going there.
You know we're gonna have to feed him.
Yeah, I know. I'm aware. You got him looking.
Now you've done it.
Now we got to speed through
My
these
belly's
next 10
grumbling,
years.
George.
Well, the shop was before Ben.
I'm not talking about the cross patch. That's what you mean.
Yeah.
That's what he's talking about.
Yeah.
That's 100%.
I thought you meant the mower
Well, that's
shop.
where no,
Is all them goodies still in your basement?
No, they're in the old shop.
both.
Well, I was talking to Barry, and guess what? They're also at Edie's.
They're everywhere.
Bunch of Edie's.
They're everywhere.
Yeah, that stuff's scattered to the wind.
It's just,
Why the hell did you put it in a dumpster?
well, I'm going to.
Well,
It can't be no good.
We might need to use that someday.
Yeah, paper stuff. I don't want all that.
well, now we got to go into a little detail. For a while, my mom, my aunt, and my other aunt owned a framing. Would you call it a needlework shop?
Yeah.
Crafts.
Cross stitch.
And George did all the picture framing, right? Cutting for the board for the picture frames and stuff.
Mats. I cut the mats.
A high paying job. Anyways,
You
When you move-
too?
Yeah. That's all I done.
oh,
Glass and mats.
I remember them rolling razors. I stuck my thumb on that son of a bitch one time and rolled it. Oh, it still bothers me to think about it. Cut me good. Anyways, whenever you were at the, when you moved to that farm, were you already working there? Like, were you already mowing and helping the old man?
Yeah.
So when we say working there, he was helping us haul grain, but he was also working for the owner of that farm at the time. At that time, we didn't own any percentage of the farm or anything, so you were working for that guy and for
Yeah,
Dad.
I worked for Bob.
Yeah. So what was the old man like to work for?
Well, he'd mellowed a lot when I went over there.
So
Me and him got along like two peas in a pod because I was just as picky as he was when it come to doing something. That's what he always said.
it's very hard to describe the old man. When we say the old man, we're talking about a man named Bob Harness, and a very interesting fella. And he's been going now for almost 20 years, getting close to 20 years.
Don't seem possible.
Nope. I wish I would have been able to. I mean, I wish that he would have lived another 20 years so I could sit down and talk to him because he was an interesting guy. I don't know if he'd have done it. He probably would have done it.
Yeah.
He was very interested in preserving history, so I think he would have done it.
Oh, yeah.
Very intelligent. My God, the dates he remembered.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. There's so many people like that, and they never get to tell their story like that. And I wish I could have got his, but
When they done that commercial over
Yeah.
for Dina,
yep.
that one of them guys sat down and interviewed him,
Oh, okay.
but I never heard it. They
Yeah.
were supposed to send me a copy of the tape, but he didn't. All I got was a copies of the commercial.
Bob was the kind of guy that on his farm he had a record of every arrowhead or Indian artifact found, where it was found, and it was all in a display case, wasn't it?
Yep.
A very meticulous guy, and a lot of people did not get along with him because of how meticulous he could be.
Yeah, he was.
And a hoarder. And him and George got along just
Oh,
fine.
we'd have got along better if I'd have been around when the dump was
The
over.
dump. Oh, good
So there used to be a public trash pit right down the street from where the shop is, and the stories I've got is Bob would go over there and dig through everything. I mean, at that point,
No.
No.
Bobby
he is
had-
paying a guy to do it.
I don't know. I don't know about that.
No,
I
Butcher.
think Shorter or Humpy or whatever.
Butcher.
He,
Raymond.
yeah, he done it for what he could get too.
Yeah.
But he'd put all that stuff he'd find over to the side. Well, when Bob come over to
Throw his
whatever,
trash out, and
Yeah, he went through it and he got what he wanted, and then Butcher could have the rest of it.
But he paid Butcher for
Did
it.
he?
Well,
Oh,
wasn't
yeah.
it on harness ground too?
Well, the dump,
I mean, that was
the dump was
contracted off the farm.
The dump was an old gravel pit, which your grandpa, my dad, hauled most of it, a lot of it out to build the roads in the bottoms and all over.
Yeah,
But then, it.
that was
they
a
opened up-
township dump, wasn't it?
It used to be just every day. I mean, you just go to dump. People dump. Well, the township took it over and stopped that. So they every 2 weeks, Friday afternoon, and or Friday all day and Saturday till noon, and you had to cover it up with dirt. Well, they would need somebody to do that, the dirt. So I got the job. I had a little 4-foot dozer. Got the job, haul the dirt over there and cover it every time. And Bob would come over every morning, both mornings, and check stuff out. And the guy named Butcher.
Yeah.
He kept people putting it in the right place and that.
Well, it's just it always was interesting to me that at the time Bob would have probably been one of the most wealthy men in this area,
Probably pretty close.
and he still.
And we still use step ladders from the dump with rungs cut off. And
I don't know if the step ladders are from there, but I just always thought it was interesting. I mean, he was the kind of guy that he had enough money he could have bought and sold anything in that dump 2 or 3 times,
Oh, yeah.
and he's still picking through the dump to get tarp straps.
That's probably why he had what the
Yeah,
money.
it definitely didn't
It
hurt.
helped.
And he's also a guy that lived through the Depression.
And a
so.
lot of luck. A lot of luck. More luck than anything. Because he would stop on Route 35 and
Yeah.
get tarp strapped. and
I
put it
was
in the road.
thinking when
How he didn't get run over, right?
When we went to
One of the
Buffalo
two-
Wild
one of the
Wings
two
the other
lanes,
days,
yeah.
when we went to Buffalo, did you see the ratchet strap in the middle of Bridge Street?
Yeah.
I told Kayla, I was like, get out and get that.
You should have got it.
She wouldn't do it. I was like, George would have spanked you.
Yeah.
Becky won't get out either. There's a tarp strap over by the driveway.
So
I
the
had to get it myself.
And he'd hold them tarp straps.
Oh
There
my
was one.
God.
He'd give me a few.
He had them like you
That
wouldn't
old barn.
believe.
Mud flaps.
Oh, we had a good selection of mud flowers. Good selection.
oh man, I can remember. So the farm that George lives on for a while was the road that went to it was a U.S. highway, a 2-lane, extremely busy U.S. highway. And being a kid, I can remember me and Ben and you, depending on whose side of the road it was on and who was sitting in what seat, would risk life and limb to go get a tarp strap.
Oh, I always make sure there wasn't nothing coming.
oh, always look both ways.
Yeah, look both ways before you get to.
Yeah, but he was neat. George the same way. I mean, the bins over there were spotless.
Yeah,
And look at him now.
Yeah, now that you're in charge, look.
He's turned over his grave.
they were spotless till you started working
If he
here.
was in a grave, but yeah, it's he was neat. Kept everything neat.
Yep.
But you guys, I mean, worked well together, and
Yeah.
yeah,
No, I don't know what Bob done without George.
yeah, yeah.
Yep.
And that's when you became a professional lawnmower too, right? Yep. I remember one time you had a pacemaker put in, and I had to help you and Ben mow grass, and I thought real quick, I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do for a living yet.
But that was.
But
with
this
the,
ain't it.
That was the Ford tractors.
No, that was with the bush hogs. They had just got the bush hogs when I helped, or not the bush hogs. They were bush hog zero turns, weren't they?
No.
Yeah.
What? Okay.
You got them from Hauser right before you started selling Dixie
Right.
Chopper. Yeah.
Mike,
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I ain't gonna say nothing.
Go ahead.
No.
Yep. So from that point forward, you just, I mean, help Bob and help Dad, and everything got along pretty good then.
Yeah.
Yep. What did you think when we started carrying around cameras? Because you were still working for 2 years whenever I was doing YouTube.
I don't know.
There's Brian over there talking to himself because nobody else wants to listen.
There you go. I mean, I really have no answer.
Okay.
Because, I mean, we've done what we done, went on.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you weren't worried about it or thought it was dumb or anything like that?
Oh, no.
Okay.
I remember I used to ask you all kinds of questions about it.
Half the shit I wish we could have got on camera would have been a few years before that. God, I remember one time. I mean, George is one of the funnest people I've ever worked with. No offense. You're pretty low on the list.
No.
I haven't seen you work when I'm around.
Oh, here we go. But I remember one time we were moving a grain head in harvest. And
Good one.
for those of you that don't know, George is a very regimented individual, if you can't tell. Like right now, we're 30 minutes late to lunch, at least. And he's probably getting pissed. He's not going to say anything because he's a nice guy. But he's probably starting to get a little angry about it.
Wait till the camera goes off.
Yep. One time we were moving a bean head, and it's just right across the street here. I remember it like it was yesterday. This was probably like 8-9 years ago now. And I had went to McDonald's and got everybody lunch. And I always get everybody a quarter pounder meal and an apple pie. Well, whoever's apple pie was in the truck,
You asshole.
whoever apple pie was in the truck, they didn't eat it. So George gets out to unhook the header wagon, and while he's going, I grab this apple pie and inhale it.
Yeah, but you asked me if I wanted it.
No, I'm getting there. I set the box, I put it back and set it back right where it was. George gets in, I was like, hey, you want that apple pie?
But you asked me, I think you asked me if I wanted it before I got out. And I said no. And then you eat that son of a bitch when I got back in the truck and it was gone.
There was just a lot of stuff like that. I mean, that was
how many
every
pair
day.
of gloves did you get off of Brian?
Best part is he'd get in my truck and find a quarter and be like, well, you weren't using it.
What?
You get in my truck, find a quarter in the seat or the floorboard or something, just pocket it.
Well, I was
George.
cleaning it out.
George,
for
you missed out because the last 1038, the Challenger that we just got rid of, when I was cleaning that thing out, there was a blank check that he had signed in the armrest.
Gee.
You could have scored big time.
You ain't
I
lying.
don't think it was signed.
It was indeed signed.
What was you going to buy with that, big boy?
I don't know. Shit happens. But man, it just seemed like there was a lot of stuff like that I wish we could have had on camera, but didn't quite happen in time.
Oh, you got a good cousin that day, didn't you?
Yeah, probably. Probably. Yep. So what was your least favorite thing to do on the farm? Like least favorite task that we would
When
do?
I first started?
Anytime.
Okay, after we had started hauling corn from harnesses, I hated to haul from over to your house.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
so,
makes sense.
it's so slow.
Well, now it's completely 180. I mean, none of us
Oh,
mind.
yeah.
It was just
But like
things
Bob
upgrade.
said, look at it now.
Yeah.
Even if it was still in spick and span shape, I mean, it's so much quicker here.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
this is a few years
Yeah,
newer.
there's about a 50-year gap in age in technology there.
But still, yet, that was heaven on earth over there at
that's
the time.
Yeah, that's a sick.
Yeah, I mean, I hauled out over there for about 10 years.
One of the first grain setups in the country here, around here. And
Yeah,
it was
it was-
top notch.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was Graves. Was it Graves first and then this one?
yeah, I think they were the
They're about
same
same
dryer.
size, Yeah.
Because I think, what was that guy's name? Boldy.
Boldy, but Huck Boldy, yeah.
Yeah.
Huck
But
Boldy.
he done Grazes and then come up here and done
Yeah.
this direction.
Yeah, yeah, I know at the old place. So it would have been on YouTube for 1 year. Not this year though. We had no, it wouldn't have been on YouTube at all. We'd built the first bins over here in 16. So our old grain setup, folks, was at our home farm. Yeah, and well, there was a lot of cobbling going on, wouldn't you say?
Oh, Jesus, I'm surprised somebody wasn't electrocuted.
I know that.
There wasn't nothing down there.
Multiple people have said that with electrical experience. I'm surprised no one's been electrocuted.
It's
Or
down
something
there
hasn't
now.
burnt down.
Down there now, but not like over harnesses.
Well,
I wonder if somebody had got electrocuted over there.
I'll tell you, harnesses ain't a whole lot better now when you start when
Well,
we started
it-
peeling some of that stuff out of there.
It looked better.
It did look better.
It looked better, but no breaker on that dryer. That was a hot wire going right to that dryer. Right out of the bottom.
Oh, yeah.
We found this out whenever I'm on a step ladder unhooking it,
Brian's hair stood up. He started hollering.
Really?
and I didn't get shocked. But I just cut it.
And you know what?
I was just about to cut it.
One thing that you never told me when you give me the walk around my first year back is that there's an off position on the leg. It's not labeled.
Well, that's because you always put it in auto because
Yeah,
we had
yeah.
the dryer.
So when we took the dryer out and this line that we didn't realize was hot laid down on the ground and it started raining and it laid there and it shorted and the leg come on and run water. Remember that? Remember plugging that pipe up?
All night and day.
Yes.
That's how we didn't know it. Run
Well, we
water.
had cut a wire unhooking that dryer, and it was the pressure switch or the automatic
that's what I'm
switch.
talking
Yeah, and the leg started up for some reason. What the hell?
It was laying there and it shorted out. And
Yep.
just run water up that damn thing all night long.
Yep. Now we cuss that place every time we haul out of there, mostly because of the leg in the hole. That is the worst part of that whole place is that leg in the hole, and the dump pit needs all redone. But and the rats are pretty bad. And the little bins, they could be a little bigger. And the smaller
Well,
leg, it could be a little bigger too.
Everything spoils you when you go to this new stuff. If we didn't have that, it'd still be nice.
Oh, I can remember I can remember being a kid running a grain cart, and I thought, man, I'm doing something. And I remember about the time I got old enough to drive a semi and didn't know what I was doing yet, George opens the door of that grain cart and says, "You're going to learn to drive a truck. I'm tired of freezing my ass off." And at that time, we did not have the holding bins that we have now. And driving a truck meant you didn't sleep as much because you'd have to go over and dump trucks in the middle of the night to keep them holding bins full.
Yeah, I've done that a lot.
That was stuff growing up I didn't realize you did. I mean, even 18 years old, I didn't realize you did that until I had to start doing it.
He just showed up in the morning and thought, man, that truck dumped itself in the middle of the night.
I didn't even pay attention to it. It'd be like asking Landon how it happened. I mean, he wouldn't know.
Old Clark's done that a many, but not.
Not our semis, but his trucks.
Yeah, little truck.
Well, that was the thing. Them trucks were the mobile holding bins, so have to keep them full or empty. Keep the holding bins full to keep us drying all night.
Yeah, I emptied the truck so we'd be ready to go the next morning.
Yep. Yeah, it's a lot easier to go eat lunch at the old restaurant because all you had to do was put a load in that holding bin, and it didn't really matter at that point. Once that dryer ran, we were going to catch it in a couple hours anyways. So.
Yep, didn't take long.
Yep.
If you dump the dryer, you were screwed.
Yep.
You was behind.
So we were still doing it that way until we unhooked that dryer. I mean, we weren't drying a lot of corn in. Once we built this place, we started bringing most of the corn up here, but we'd still have a bin or two that we'd put corn in, and I still hated dumping corn over there.
Yep.
Because of that. I mean, you have a combine that can run 4,000 bushels an hour and a grain leg that can only dump 3 and a dryer that can only dry 500. It don't take long. Yep. Well, we probably better get you something to eat.
Well, I'll live. I'll be weak. But
How long you think we've been talking now?
I don't know what time you finally got ready.
Have them cookies.
We're an hour and 56 minutes in.
That's
Oh
all.
my God.
Well, we're going for 2 hours.
Well, we can
It's windy.
That way, I'll get 2 hours.
Didn't tell about
2
his,
hours pay.
Didn't tell about his Chevelle.
He did have a Chevelle. Yeah,
Run pretty good.
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about the one.
Purple one.
the pink one.
Yeah.
Pink one. Pink one.
You can call it what you want, but that car was pink.
Well,
Candy raspberry, I believe, was the paint code. So for a while, Dad and George and I and George's son were all into muscle cars, and I still am, and hell, I guess all of us probably still are. We just don't
we
mess with
just
them.
had the money to buy them.
Well, I got one sitting in the building, and just don't drive it.
He's got a damn nice one. How long's it been since it's
Needs
done?
cleaned up.
Now my Camaro has moved away a few more times.
5 or 6 years probably.
But anyways, at the time, George had, what was that, a 68 Chevelle? It wasn't a 7. It was a different style. It was either an 8 or 9.
It's been an 8. I don't think it's 9.
Well, it was a
It had the
68
slope
then.
back and the,
It was an 810.
yeah. It was was it an SS or was it an SS clone? I know the engine wasn't
I
original.
think it was a SS, but they put that,
427.
yeah.
Had a 427 4-speed. And tell you, at the time when I remember going with you and Dad to look at that car, and Danny took us a ride in it. And at the time, that was the fastest thing I'd ever been in or been a part of. And I thought for sure we were dead because he's driving at 100 miles an hour down Route 50. And then when I drove one of those old cars for the first time and got it up to that kind of speed, I was like, God damn, it's just a matter of time before we die.
Yeah,
It's a lot easier to go that fast in a new car.
Oh, yeah. Big difference.
yeah, not near as much fun.
No, I could have just as much fun in that
Well,
yellow
there-
Camaro of yours as I could that.
Well, that's true. Yeah, Camaro. But the sound of it, the engine, I guess, driving it's throttle body, and it
Sounds a little bit different than my wife's Honda Pilot.
It doesn't respond as quick as
Even at
the
100.
carburetor.
I think they respond as quick. I just don't think they smell the
There's
same.
a hesitation to them.
I don't know.
Yeah, if you drove carburetor,
I mean,
it's
I have.
instant.
I have.
If for a long time, you'd see the difference.
I'm just saying, I've drove that 67, and I've drove a lot of newer Camaros.
Oh, I've
and
seen them. They're fast.
When was the last time you had a vehicle that was on a carburetor that you drove daily?
The year 1800.
Let's don't go back that far.
Yabba dabba doo.
Oh, shit.
Well, Grandpa's old truck.
That's a throttle body, isn't it?
It's carburetor.
Oh, I thought it was a. Okay.
Is
Get
it
that.
still, is it
I need to
still
get
on?
that thing over here. That's going to be a
Shed.
future video. I want to at least bring it over here.
Where's it at?
It's in the
In a
corn
truck
crib.
shed.
Shit.
It's got barn. It's going to be. The title of the video is going to be barn find.
Had it running good.
That was 5 or 6 years ago now.
Well, all that stuff was running good. Charlie Bodie had everything running.
Well, that he probably worked on it 10 years ago because he had worked on it. It had sat there. I put a battery in it, got it out, cleaned the inside of it out, and then it was still not in our name. So I didn't mess with it. It needs new tires. Like I drove it up to the crossroads and back, and I thought for sure one of them tires was gonna blow because them tires are probably from 1990 at best. They're pretty dry rotted, but we still have Grandpa's old '87 GMC Sierra from when he,
3/4 ton.
yeah, 2-wheel drive.
305.
305 2-wheel drive, worthless combination. That what is that Steiny guy on High Street? You know what I'm talking about? He has. It looks exactly like Grandpa's truck, only it's 4-wheel drive.
I see it there every day.
I mean, it's a beautiful look. I would love to have one of those. I don't know what I'd do with it. Don't know if I'd drive it, but it looks immaculate, and it's the same color scheme as Grandpa's, only it's 4-wheel drive.
down there now.
Yep,
Well, I seen it when we went to the ball game the other day. I seen it too.
I seen it sitting there Monday when we went to get our taxes.
Maybe that's where I see it.
We gotta stop and look at it and leave. But anyways, you got anything else you want to talk about, George?
I think you pretty well covered my lifetime.
Oh, we forgot a bunch of crap. I guarantee it.
Oh, no. Not a thing.
Not a thing.
Not a thing.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you for always being there for us. Like I say, you've always been like a second dad to BJ and I. And
Yeah, appreciate you, George.
yep, you mean a lot to us, and I'm glad we got to sit down and do this.
Wait till you get my bill.
That's what I figured. We're gonna pay your bill at Taylor's. Let's go eat.
We going to Taylor?
I don't care where we go. Where we can go, wherever you want to go.
Do you know where I like to go?
Well, it's been so long now, I don't remember.
Oh, bullshit.
Where you want to
The
go?
highway's been closed for a
Yeah,
long
highway's been
time.
He never really liked the highway.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you there for a time you didn't go.
Arch and Eddie's.
Yeah, that'd work.
Where do you want to go?
We get Taylor. I don't care.
Where do you like to go? McDonald's?
There you go.
Yeah. He was so that's one thing. Whenever we worked, whenever we
Poppy
worked,
seeds.
oh, I
Sesame
forgot.
seeds.
Forgot about this.
We do need a good.
You gotta tell him about
We need a
this.
good shit story. I wasn't born yet.
He wasn't in the family either. It was for your first wife too, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah. Because
Just driving for roadway.
Jim was the one, Jim McCoskey,
So-
was the one that done the artwork.
Okay, I've seen the pictures.
Yeah.
What happened? We got to set the mood here. What's going on? So, when you were growing up, there was no fast food in Jellicoe. So when you moved to a place that had access to a McDonald's, was that life changing?
Oh, God, yeah.
I mean, just be able to go get a hamburger anytime you wanted. Is that why you still like McDonald's so much?
Well, I just like the hamburger, or it gets all gooey and you have to chase it down to eat it. That's
Put
when
all
they're-
sauce on, or put all
yeah,
sauce
that's
on
when
and
they're
stuff.
good.
Okay. Well, what's
Have
the
you ever
sesame?
had a decent hamburger?
Yeah.
No.
What's the sesame seed story?
Guy lived next door to. I think I started hurting in my side one time.
And you're in your 30s at this point, probably.
Probably. And Jim says, hell, I know what's wrong with you. You're backed up on sesame seeds. So I went to the doctor. They put me in the hospital. I think I forget. Maybe it's appendicitis or something. I don't remember. But anyway, they flushed me out, and boy, I was full of sesame seeds.
From eating McDonald's hamburgers.
It had to be.
Yeah, jeez.
He had the original Big Mac attack.
Yeah. Now they don't have sesame seeds anymore, do they?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Are
that's
there
Oh,
sesame seeds
yeah.
on
On Big Mac.
Big Mac.
Yeah.
So you
And,
were.
and
I
quarter
forgot.
pounders.
So
Well, before that, remember the Sunburger? Sesame
yeah.
seeds on it. It was a big hamburger. And it had lots of sesame seeds on it.
we just had one of those yesterday.
It didn't have sesame seeds.
It wasn't a very big
It wasn't
hamburger
very
either.
big either. Gee
What'd you
whiz.
do? Get the junior?
No.
No.
We asked him about that a while back, and they swear that the junior is the same size it's always been, but I think the junior has migrated to being the original,
Yeah.
and the original is now the double, and the junior is like the micro or something. I don't know. It's the
good.
toddler.
Well, I always liked going to eat with you, and we'd work together. So, especially after I quit college, George and I worked together during harvest and hauling grain pretty often. And I always liked going to eat with you because, I mean, I didn't have no money, or not any to speak of. I mean, enough to pay my bills, but I wasn't flush with cash by any means. And we'd always take turns buying lunch for each other. We didn't have no company card. It was, I mean, you were on your own for lunch. And I always liked going to lunch with you because we'd take turns buying, and double cheeseburger from McDonald's, $1. And I had a card for a Diet Coke.
Yeah.
Had a school card for a Diet Coke coupon, and he'd get strawberry sundae.
Probably.
Yeah, $2,
Yeah.
cheap date.
I can remember when me and Dave and Al used to go out there. I think we'd eat for $5 or less every morning.
Well, you'd usually eat McDonald's 2 times a day.
It ain't that way no more.
So George still has that heart condition. I honestly don't know how they haven't done you in yet.
Well, let's don't talk about that.
Can't afford it now, as much as it is.
Yep. Well, let's go find something to eat. All this talking, I'm hungry now.
You worked overtime, ain't you?
Yep. We're going to have to pay you for 2 hours and 5 minutes now.
Oh, shit, did we go over?
Yep, we went over.
All
I have to cut it. All right.
Cut it back to 2.
Yep.